Oh, well. Guess not.
Yeah.
Hey!
Hello, everyone.
Hi! Who is here? We have one person that was waiting. So, because people on my channel, you guys, hello, I love you. This is Dakota.
Hi.
This is my friend and neighbor and soul family, Dakota, and I'm Infinity. This is Rosie.
Yeah.
People who are familiar with my channel know that I definitely am not punctual with my times. I try to be, but things happen. So here we are. It is 6:58. Hello. See, they're coming.
Hello.
3 people.
All right.
We have Leslie. Is Karen still here? Hi. Hello. 4 people in the house. Hi, guys. Happy Friday. Thanks for joining us today. Did you have a good day?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, well, no, it could have been better. I'll say that.
Really?
Yeah, it could have been better.
Aw. Well, hopefully it'll be better now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk about this.
I am too. I'm super excited. Let's see who else is here. Chime in, guys. Tell me who's here. Are you with Ethan, Leslie? That's Ariel in the my birdie's in there. And at some point here, I'm going to have to start letting cats in. So that'll happen. But are you with Ethan, my dear Leslie? And thanks for waiting.
Yes, he's here.
Yay, he's here. Hi.
Hi there.
Thanks for coming. And I never even got to that part with you. I'm like, I'll just tell you. And then we got totally off track.
Yeah, right.
So, we'll just give it another couple minutes and see who comes in. It is almost 7 o'clock in the Pacific. So that's 8 o'clock for you guys. They're in New Mexico. Leslie and Ethan are in New Mexico. Love Cats is in, Hi Hun is in North Carolina. And hi. Hello, guys. So how was everybody's Friday? Anything? I had to take a nap, like I told you.
Yeah.
I was like, I should have like the space ready. I was like, let me fix this. But I didn't because I was really tired and I needed to take a nap. And then after I woke up, and I really didn't wake up on my own accord. I think like the bird or the cats or whatever. And right now, Pretty Boy is going nuts with a little, is that like a little acorn he's playing with? I think it's a little acorn. No, he's like batting it back and forth and going crazy right now. So an animal woke me up and I just like laid there and stuff for a while until I basically had to get up and get things ready. It's just been kind of a tired day. Felt tired and lazy today. You did? Oh my goodness gracious. You've been
I gotta
so tired.
I did too. I felt pretty tired and lazy as well.
Yeah?
Yeah. But, it's because I have those games on my mind.
You think that was part of it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, when I was, today we were supposed to be working on the house, and I did a little bit, but, I...
Did you end up playing games?
Yeah, most of the day. I mean, when I wake up in the morning, I play them. And I stay up all night playing them. Like, I just... and when it was time for work, I was like, yeah, gosh, I just want to keep playing, honestly. I really
What
don't
were you
want
playing?
to do this. I play this game called Smite. It's a fun game, but it gets really addicting. I mean, not just the game itself, but that's just the one game that I found that was most addicting for me. I mean, it still is.
Mm-hmm.
I just can't stop playing it. I can't stop thinking about it. When I'm not playing it, it's always on my mind. I mean, always. It's just like I think about it all day long, like about what character I want to play next, or not really focusing on the subject at hand, but more thinking about like when I get to play next, or especially the worst is, how much time I'll be able to budget for tonight to play, or in the morning even, like how many games will I be able to squeeze in? How often can I butcher my sleep schedule to keep playing? Like I'm telling you,
you're really honest
really
about
bad.
it, Dakota. I really appreciate how honest you are about it, because you're super aware. I mean, you guys, you have to hand it to him for being so honest about how you feel, how it makes you feel. And I really appreciate that. And that's why I was like, wow, I think you would be great to talk about it with other people, because not everybody's so forthcoming. I mean, I know we have a relationship and you're really comfortable talking with me, but I knew the first time that he talked to me about it. You do kick ass. Thank you. That we talked about. I was like, oh, we need to get online. We need to talk about this to a broader audience, because of the fact that you're nowhere near alone in this. So many people deal with this. We have marriages breaking up. We have children not, failing school or not doing life. Having problems, which, like you said, butchering your sleep schedule.
It's definitely a new social epidemic. I mean, people these days, it's actually kind of crazy. I heard about this, but, people from like, I think 25 to 40 men, most of them are at home with their parents playing games most of the day. And I realized that
say that again. What was that? What was that?
It was about 25 to 40 years of age for men are usually at home still with their parents playing video games.
That's scary.
It's about
that's terrifying.
It's a really bad epidemic. It's a social epidemic, and it's a mental addiction as well. It's kind of crazy because it's not just the Xbox or the PS4 or whatnot or the computer. It's even on your phone. The phone is just, I'd say the phone is probably one of the worst, because when you're playing it always, every single game that you see practically is a microtransaction in it. Buy a bunch of gems so you can upgrade your building or whatever the hell it is. But
that's a good point.
Seriously, it's actually a gambling addiction. It turns into one, because you're so. I got caught up in this, in the microtransactions. I'm like, oh man, if I spend $80, I can get to this new level, or 20 here or 5 there.
Like real dollars.
Real money. I'll be honest. When I was young, my mom, I moved out with my dad, and my mom got disability money for me, and I got half of it. I got about $450 a month. About all $450 of it went straight to games every single month. Every single month. I've spent probably about, I'd say, 5 to 10 grand on video games, and I'm 18. It's really bad. I mean, it started all when I was young. I mean, it all started when I was young. I played them all throughout my life, basically. I mean, it's all I really know, and sometimes
your whole
really
generation, you're
difficult.
Everybody in your age group, and you're talking 40s.
Yeah.
So, and I'm 46, and so I was the first generation. We were talking about this before. I was the first generation of like in-home gaming. Like not only you go to the arcade and there's games, but you can have your consoles at home. We had Donkey Kong, and all those fun games. And then they got bigger and better and progressed. And as an adult, I got addicted. Before it got internet based, before it was also you can be on the internet and you're spending money on it besides just buying your game. I mean,
the games back
that is a whole other level.
Games back then were not as advanced as they are.
Yeah, but they realized that how people got so addicted to it, and what else can be attached to it.
Definitely.
And what else can be, because humans are very addictive, and
that's so true.
Very
most people have addictive personalities, but it's also because we're raised in a way to be like that. I mean,
Yes.
like I'll just say it. When I was raised on video games, I was raised on the idea of never quitting. You know, I mean, I had I had a pretty good social life, but when the game started to get way more intense and more interactive and more like you can dive into the world and escape reality in a way, I started losing all my friends. I mean, like, because I would, I would make plans with them, and at the last minute, I would cancel because I'd want to keep playing games. I mean, I would skip out on school even. Like, I would.
Did your friends know that?
No, I made it a really big deal to try and make it so that people didn't know what it was. You know, it kind of sounds exactly like a heroin addiction. You know, you don't want to admit to everyone that you're doing it, but let me tell you, you're doing it all the time. I mean, I would spend all night playing it. Right before school, I'd play some. And some days I'd be like, you know what, screw it. I'm just going to take the day off and keep playing all day. You know, and it's difficult. And they're technically advanced psychoactive apparatuses. I mean, they absolutely.
Nice. Say that again?
They're technically advanced psychoactive apparatuses.
Nice.
You know, that's basically what the Xbox is.
Good.
It psychologically manipulates your brain so that you can stay addicted and stay in a fantasy world for hours and hours and hours. You lose track of time. I mean, it's crazy because when I'm not playing games, the days feel long. The days feel boring. But when you're playing games, the day goes by like that. It goes by so fast that you're just like, God, I just wish I had more time to keep playing. And
as you get pulled into another place in your brain. Well, this is a perfect segue because I was telling Dakota, we had talked about this a couple of times, and then I was like, yeah, we really need to have this conversation. In the meantime, Easter happened, and Leslie had shared about because I was doing a live. So I was doing a live, and I could feel you were like barely kind of there, Leslie. And eventually she said that Ethan was acting up, and I knew what that meant. And I was like given information, like he's getting really angry with the game that he's playing, and it happens exactly when we're doing our live, when she's wanting to focus here and meditate with us, that this is going on. There's this like thing being created, and I remember just going, there's a pattern here. I'm seeing like a real pattern with kind of what happens on that side with Ethan and him and the game, and even with how that's affecting Leslie. And it just kind of hovered around in my consciousness. And then I woke up from sleeping the other day with this just like mass amount of information. And this is what you and I haven't even talked about, is that, and for me, he's going to try chaga for the first time.
Yeah.
I made chaga. No more coffee for me. I can't take it. My stomach.
Oh, that is delicious.
And that has no anything in it. You can put honey and almond milk but it's the only thing I've ever had.
Wow, that really is good.
It's the only thing I've ever had that, like, no tea, no coffee have I ever had where I was like, I don't need to put anything in it. I usually need some sweet stuff and something going on to make it, more,
that's
more palatable.
A different taste that I've never tasted.
Isn't it delicious?
Before. It's really good. Yeah.
It's a mushroom.
Is it really?
It's a mushroom.
Wow, I never would have guessed.
Mm-hmm.
Never would have guessed.
So there's these chaga mushrooms that grow off of the birch trees, I believe, in North America and parts of very specific places in North America and a little bit of Canada. and they take a bit to grow, and then they get dried. You can buy either the whole mushroom, you could buy them powdered, the extract powdered, so it's a really thick. I put it away, but it's this really beautiful, rich kind of cocoa-y, cinnamony, like powdery. And you can make pots of it on just a little bit, and it's extremely good for you. So look it up. It's chaga. Just a little segue here.
Yeah.
Chaga. I made him some, but it got way too hot, and he had to wait to drink it. So do you want any honey or anything?
Oh, no. I'll take it straight.
That's the way it is? Okay. Anyway, look it up, you guys, and get yourself some, and try to get off of coffee if you're still drinking it, and get yourself on some chaga. This is the first day, maybe TMI, guys. This is the first day that I didn't have an upset stomach in I don't know how long, like revisiting the potty one too many times. And I wasn't getting it that it was the coffee that I was drinking.
Really?
And one day of just drinking chaga, and I'm fine today, so yeah, I think for some of us, coffee can start to get just a bit too strong, too harsh on the stomach, because it's pretty harsh, coffee. And I tend to like it really strong. I don't like coffee just like, you're not a coffee drinker, but I don't like coffee just like, It needs to have some kick to it. Not for the caffeine, just for the flavor. I need it to be, strong. Anyway, okay, so back to the gaming stuff. I'm glad you like it, by the way. That's awesome. Everybody likes it.
Well, you were talking about how you woke up with
yes,
some
thank you.
information.
So I wake up, and it was just this download, like, oh my God. And I remember getting these I was watching from like this outside perspective where it showed, and I didn't get into this with you, Leslie. I just kind of give you an overview, but where it kind of showed me, like somebody sitting in front of a TV, or and playing the game, whatever their game was. But it was more like seeing the whole interaction of the game as this gateway, this portal for much lower density energies to come through.
Oh, yeah.
And to attach to you, to get into your space, to mess with your mind, to work on all those addictions and addictive type things. Have you felt that? Do you feel?
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, he's like, yeah, like this.
And I'll tell you something that
the visual of it was just really dark.
Yeah, this for me
was really dark from this visual that I had in my dream. I woke up going, holy fuck, man. Like it was just darkness, and it was just this portal coming out, and it was affecting the brain of the person, but it was definitely it was shooting out onto like everything around them, all the people around them, everything around them. It was affecting them at very specific times to disrupt things in the home with other people.
Yeah.
I mean, have you experienced this kind of stuff?
I'll tell you something that is personal to me that doesn't probably happen to every gamer. But I will say this is not something that I like to talk about. But one thing about the games that I realized is that for my entire life, all my mind has sponged up is honestly, I mean, if you think about it, constant death, agony, and pain. I know it sounds morbid, but most games that you play,
games are, right? They're very violent.
Most of them are violent, and I'm not trying to say that playing the violent games are going to get you very violent, but what it will do is it
puts those images in your mind.
It puts those images in your mind. Absolutely.
There's no doubt about it.
For me, I'm not a violent person. I will never do anything of that nature, but I always see the blood and the killing in my head. And when I'm not playing them, I actually crave watching more of it. It's disgusting and sinister, but I actually start to crave. Yeah. I start to crave the death. And I know it sounds seriously morbid, but it's all my mind has
It's kind
ever
of like
seen.
how people will see like and watch and binge out on horror,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. But
because
the thing
it's a bunch of bloody, like it's just it feeds this like, and it's really truly what it is.
Right.
There's kind of two facets of what goes on here when it comes to this portal thing and the dark energies and entities that can come out. So there's a few different things that go on. There's like what happens in the environment, just the overall energies of the home, how it affects other people, what it can bring in, depending on what you're playing, kind of depends on what's going on.
Yeah.
It'll affect you in this way. It'll affect your wake state, your dream state. It'll stop you from sleepy. Yeah, it'll keep you in that lower density that lower density vibration. So you cannot get into the higher vibrational states of being in your wake state or in your sleep state, either way, because it is completely taken over and infected like a cancer, and it rewires how things work.
It rewires your brain, literally.
Especially if you're a growing person in your brain with your pineal gland and all that.
And that is where it affects the people the most, is the young kids. I'm telling you,
and
it affected me at a young age.
And it's meant to do that.
It is.
It's a direct assault on this spiritual connection and your connection to self. Because when you're doing that, you're not connecting to your soul self.
No. You can't connect to nature.
You can't connect to anything.
Because seriously, you're so delved deep into that fantasy land.
Nothing else is good enough.
To anything.
Nothing else is good enough. We were talking about this. We were talking about this before the live. We said, I said, when there's this creational aspect. There's this creative aspect when it comes to a lot of games, when it comes to how you're going to look and your characters and building your worlds, and
your characters usually look badass.
Oh yeah, they're colorful, they're super cool. Your avatars and your avatars are, I mean, that would be like my son's, like, look at what I made, look at my thing, because I got these things, and now he's got. You start
to look down upon yourself because you're like, wow, look at how badass that character is that I made. And when you're so focused on that fantasy world and you're constantly living in it, you'll start to demonize yourself for not being as good as that person in the game. Like for not being as good as a fighter or whatever, honestly. As good as a parkour, I'm telling you, anything. And one thing that she brought up that's a good point is games have many connections to addictive drugs, because one thing that is very similar with them is that when you're doing cocaine all the time, you start to find the world very boring around you. Anything, even chocolate cake will be boring than if you're sober for your whole life. Because cocaine, you're on such a high level of dopamine that the world becomes boring. Because you're not getting those same dopamine hits like you would on cocaine, but it's the same thing with the games.
It's just way too slow.
That is what happens with me on those games. I constantly am getting those hits of dopamine. Literally, it happens. And she's also right. The world is really slow, whereas the games, they're so fast-paced. Yeah. And it makes my mind fast, and it makes me impatient.
And you can control stuff in the game.
You can, that's another thing, is you become a control freak. I actually had to deal with becoming a control freak. That's why you get pissed a lot.
Like, I noticed my son would be a complete asshole because he couldn't control everything like he could in his game. And I'm like, life isn't a game. You can't control everything the way you want it to be. Like, let's go. I want to do this. And I'm like, first of all, you're rushing to get to your game, number one.
Right.
Number two,
that is my same thing.
You're wanting to control things a certain way, and you get pissed and frustrated when you can't.
Absolutely.
And on top of that, see, he's also like me and like you, an empath, physically and psychically, which so are you.
Right.
And when you are that, it definitely helps to buffer and disconnect you from people and the world, so you don't have to deal with all of that even on a very subconscious level, you may not be going, I'm an empath and this is how I'm getting away from people. This is just, we do what we self-medicate, right? We self-medicate.
Right.
So
It
we do what works.
You know, and that's a very good point, because I actually do display those same exact tendencies. I will play games because I don't want to go outside and interact with other people. It sounds bad, but because my whole life, my social life was ruined before, and I've had to rebuild it, but I'm bad at rebuilding it because the only thing I know and I can talk about is games. I mean, you know, I know we can talk about different things, but you know, is games. It's really only games. Like, I could talk to you for days about games, but anything else, you'd probably find me boring, and then I put myself down because of that. You know, I find that, you know, because of the games, like, you know, I can't talk to girls, or I can't talk to even guys because, you know, I mean, unless the guys play games all the time, or even the girls, you know, it's just like, that's all I know how to talk about because it's my whole life. It's been everything about me. It literally from day one I've practically played games. You know, I don't know anything else. And when I get away from them, the next, and I actually have tried this before. I tried getting rid of my Xbox, and all I do is I go right to my phone. And if I'm not playing on my phone games, I'm still watching YouTube. I just can't get back outside. I don't know what else to do. Nothing interests me. You know, nothing. It's not that nothing interests me. It's that I get bored very quick because it's not as fast and as fun as the games. It's like cocaine. It's like I'm literally trying to get off cocaine right now. You know, my high level of dopamine, it's hard to deal with the world when it doesn't give me that same hit as a game would.
Well, and he's having an extra hard time too because he's not only is he trying not to play games as much and trying to stop, but he's also like, I'm not smoking weed anymore either because
that's another thing, you know, because I was starting to get sick.
He's really trying really hard to
actually, you know what? Here's the thing. When I stopped smoking and when I also stopped drinking as well, I returned back to games because it's the same like level of dopamine. You know, when you do all three of them at once, like, oh, it's bad. You start to find the world really boring.
Yeah,
you know, nothing is the same as that.
Yeah, we were talking about that, and I said, well, you can create your avatars, your characters. You spend money or you spend time,
right.
and you can go through levels and you collect your things that go with your characters or your little men or your little pets. And I know about all this stuff. I had a kid who did this, and we talked about it, and it's really, you know, it's interesting. And I would be like, well, this is really intricate. Like, this is super. This really involves a lot of stuff. You know, like it's. And when you look at that, you're like, okay, you know, well, that's, you know, cute and colorful in this. It's like, well, there's violence and everything. We just kind of pass stuff off. And pass stuff off. But then you realize how, like we were saying, how in the real world, you know, sure, you can create stuff, but it's not the same.
Definitely.
And things are slower and more boring and not as colorful.
Absolutely.
And you can, like I said, you know, we could drive you out to the desert right now, and you'll get out of the car and look around and be like, all right, I've seen it all. There's nothing else to see right now.
Even with Niagara Falls. Like, if I went to Niagara Falls, I would look at it for 5 minutes and be like, cool, let's move on to the next thing. I'm telling you, it's that bad. That's
how my son was too. You know? It was like, we just got there. He's like, all right, well, are we good? Like, unless it was constantly of some serious stimulation, he was over it like real quick. And I realized that I told him, I said, you know, it's because you get used to being like immersed in something that's like so right here, and especially bad if you're in like VR. If you're in the virtual reality kind of game, then that's a whole other thing. But
virtual reality,
that's a whole other scary.
Only gonna get worse.
Yeah,
it's literally gonna turn into like the Matrix.
Where
you're gonna lose control of reality completely, because you'll be able to actually physically almost mentally dive into a real world. See, the only thing that keeps me from remembering that I'm still in the real world is my peripheral vision around the screen. Literally. Like, around the screen I can see the real world and I get hungry and all that, but I'm telling you, if it was virtual reality, if I put those goggles on, it's a different world.
You are where your mind is.
Absolutely. And
period.
In the
if
comments,
you're like you're saying, like if you're in a violent, colorful,
Oh,
fast
yeah.
moving world,
Absolutely.
you're craving that when you're
You
away
are.
from it, because the
You
rest
are.
of it isn't like that.
Yeah.
We're not, I mean,
Right.
if you're from that world, to
Mhm.
me, it's very fast moving. It's extraordinarily colorful. I'm creating
Right.
stuff all the time. Like, this is my perspective. Like, I don't need that to feel all of that, because I feel that very, very real in a real way in the real world. And I can also meditate and go into astral, and that's where you can create, and things can get extremely visual in there, as we know, since this is what we do here. So it's a train your brain in a habit kind of way. It really is.
It is.
Understanding all of this stuff is such a big part of beating it.
That's true.
Because you're not oblivious. You're pretty self-aware.
Yeah, I gotta say, for my age, I'm happy that I am self-aware. I mean, about this whole situation, and to get at the comments, yes, it absolutely is another form of gambling, and I'll tell you why. Especially, it's the microtransactions that are really, really display it. When you play phone games, especially, sometimes what you have to do is you have to pay like $100 to get a bunch of different card packs or a bunch of different chests, and it's like a 1 in a million chance that you get the legendary card or whatever it is. But it literally, you'll spend money and money and money
all these little
to get
hooks,
all.
right?
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's like it's the microtransactions.
It's like living in a casino.
It literally is. You're constantly playing the slot machine to see if you get that card or that legendary whatever. It literally is. But it's
also the reason why people are like addicted to Facebook. Like, there's people that can't get out of Facebook because it's I go into Facebook.
It's the likes and all that.
I go into Facebook and it's like ding ding ching ching ching. Like that's the energy that I feel when I'm
social media is definitely another.
I don't get that on
platform.
Instagram so much, but I really get that on Facebook. That's why I'm never on Facebook, because it's just fuck. I can't. Let me go bigger.
Yeah.
Another
yeah, and I really appreciate that.
I know, isn't he?
And it's
isn't
because
he awesome?
It's because, especially my dad. My dad has helped me out.
And I think, for the record, I think he can sit and talk to anybody about anything. I think you're being really hard on yourself about that.
I am pretty hard on myself.
He's an extraordinary, aware, and intelligent person. And I know
believe me, I could talk about a lot of different things.
Yeah,
I know a lot.
You really can.
I don't mean to
more than a lot of people twice your age, Dakota. Seriously,
yeah,
we've had conversations. Well, we're both kind of blown away of what each other knows.
Yeah, that's true.
He's like, wow,
it's
you know that?
True.
But like really, really progressive, very awake, very aware of things, and also, a spiritual person, somebody who's,
definitely
very, very into and I think that's what your struggle is right now, honey. Really, honestly, I think it's like you're knowing that there is more.
Oh, absolutely.
But you know that you've been disconnected from it.
Absolutely.
And I know that.
Absolutely.
And you know that there's this outside force that's keeping you from that.
Right. And
right. You're here for a reason,
serious.
And that's not it.
And I really agree with that. And, I will tell you,
seriously,
there is an outside force keeping me attached to these games, because she's right. I know there's a whole world out there waiting for me to explore and to understand so much more. But constantly my mind keeps bringing me back to games, and it's like it's a vicious cycle. I finally get off the games for a little bit, and I start thinking about them, and I start wanting to play them really bad, and I start trying to speed up what I'm trying to do to get back to playing the games. It's vicious, because I want to explore so much of the world, like, even what Infinity knows, it's stuff I've never heard about, mostly because I've been so, put down, because all I have done in my entire life has just been playing games. I mean, I will tell you, I don't get out much. I don't, I try to, but I gotta say, you lose track of time when you're sitting there playing those games, and you just can play them for hours and hours and hours.
You can blow a weekend away like real quick, right?
It's super, yeah, absolutely. I mean, God, I remember when I was in school, the weekends felt like half a day. When I was in school still, I remember, like, I would finally get off.
School just got in the way.
School got in the way, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah. And you know what? And I remember when I was younger, my grandma tried taking my games away. And, because she realized that what it was doing to me, like, I would literally be in my, because at the time I was living with my mom and my grandma. And my grandma realized, this isn't right. You're playing all day long. You never get out. You don't talk to anybody. I mean, like, like, there's something wrong here. And so she tried taking it away. And let me tell you, I went berserk. Absolutely. Like, sometimes you feel like you get violent from playing the games. No, you get violent because you can't play them. Absolutely. Like, you not just violent, but you go berserk because you just want to keep playing them. And when someone rips that away,
what did you do? Did you say horrible things?
If my grandma took it away, I would scream at the top of my head. I would go in her room and tear up her whole room looking for the controller. I mean, I'm telling you, it was really bad.
He called me the other night, and I was busy, and I didn't get to the phone in time.
Yeah. Actually, it was kind of crazy because the other night I had lost my controller. And I remember I spent a long day, and all I wanted to do was just get home and play some games. And, I remember Infinity, went in the house to check up on my dog while we were out all day. I misplaced my controller, and I thought maybe, she had moved it and I couldn't find it. I tore up the whole house. I was going insane. I tried calling her.
In the 10 or 15 minutes that I took me to get back to him, he had found it.
I found it in my laundry.
And I never saw it.
Somehow I put it in my laundry basket. But yeah, and so, I found it. I'm like, oh my goodness. I felt relieved because I was about to go, like hell on earth to go find a new controller. I was gonna go,
which is really difficult in Crestline at 10:30 at night.
I was right about to go down the hill to a GameStop to get another controller. I was about to go knock on her door to see if she found it or if she knew where it was. Like,
yeah, he was. I was worried because I was like, "What's going on?"
Really
like, they're calling me at like 10:30 at night.
It's the same thing. Like,
I mean, not that that's a problem, but I mean, I was just kind of, what's going on? I was kind of worried about Angel.
Yeah, but it's like a heroin addict. When they don't have their heroin, they are doing anything possible to get it. They become whores on the street just to get more heroin. It's the same thing with my games. I mean, I don't mean to make it sound that bad, but I'm telling you, it's that. It's
when you're an addict
real.
to really anything, the thing that has control over you has that little controller and is controlling you.
Yeah, see, you think you're controlling the games, but the games are controlling you.
And the things that come out of the game and these energetic, these little demonic energy things that have found the portals into people's homes. Now, this wasn't, I don't think, the goal intended when they came up with this idea for games.
No, it wasn't.
But it turned into that. Right. And especially when they got super violent and some of them are like extraordinarily violent and extremely lifelike. And
that's the thing. They're becoming so lifelike. I mean, the visuals on
I've seen commercials for them and I'm like, realistic. Is that a person? Like, I'm like kind of confused. Like,
they're becoming so realistic. And that's the thing. Think about this. If the games are getting that realistic, when virtual reality gets to that point where when you put on the headset, it literally looks like you're still looking at like your surroundings, that's the point in which the world will have a social epidemic when kids are going to be doing that all the time, and they literally will lose complete track of reality.
So scary to me.
Complete track of reality. Virtual reality is going to be the biggest, scariest epidemic.
When we're
I
talking
believe
about
that
a spiritual war, you've got to understand that the smartest thing to do to keep humanity from evolving is attack the children.
Absolutely. Absolutely, because their brains are so young that
they're the ones that are going to be around. I mean, us
so easily.
We're like, I mean, they want us addicted and sick and all that stuff too, because we're part of the machine. But when it comes to keeping humanity capped in their awareness and becoming really truly what they're meant to be, and if you are a light-bodied person, and have abilities and capabilities and powers and stuff to do those things, like yours truly, they're going to do really anything and everything to keep you from turning into that. And it's just easier to fuck with the children before they turn into that.
It is.
And to keep you from your own awareness and immersed in something else, and completely, like you said, in your 40s living with your parents because you didn't have and don't know a life other than that, and nobody is interesting. You didn't learn social skills. You go to work, you come home, maybe you work from home. You've tailored your life to be surrounded by that, and that's a lot of people just kind of surrender to it because nothing else is as good as that. Like the real world, they've decided. I face
that every day.
They've decided and lived in this lie that the world really is bad and horrible, and
absolutely, I absolutely have those same things happen to me. And
that's not true. It's not true. The world
right.
isn't bad and horrible. Things happen in the world that aren't good, and there are evil people, and there are things that need to be taken care of. But there's way more good in the world, because if it wasn't, it wouldn't be like this. You know what I mean? And we are fortunate to live, a lot of us, in the United States. And even though things are a little messed up here and there, right? It's, but the real world has a lot more good people loving each other and taking care of each other than the people that are there to take us down. The problem is that they know that, and we're trying, and the people are awakening. We're going through places and times in our cosmos and in our awakening of the planet. She, as a being of her own spirituality, embodiment, and whatever, is ascending as well. And people are going, wait a minute, there's something else. So you're sitting here going, I'm aware there's something else, and this is wrong. I'm aware that I should feel something else. I see other people feeling those things, and I'm going,
I do believe that. I have that disconnect, and
that's, thank God for that, because there's a line, there's a lifeline there. You're reaching out and going, I need to get out of this.
And I'll tell you, she brought something up that I absolutely understand the feeling of. There are absolutely days where I'm ready to surrender to them. I'm ready to surrender to the games and just accept that that's my life. I really am. It's really bad because I understand that there's more to life that I'm not understanding, and I really want to get out there and experience it. But the games are so addicting to me that I'm almost ready to just surrender to them. It's
just way more enticing.
Because, if I surrender to them, I know that I will, love them to the end of my days. But the thing is, though, is I will never really, in the back of my head, I'll always... that I know when I go out to Illinois for 2 weeks, every day I play games all day long. I wake up, play games to the moment I go to bed. It's my vacation time, but it's only to play games. And when I do that, I'm always thinking about how I wish I could be getting out and experiencing the things that I should be experiencing. But let me tell you, it's so hard to experience them when they're on your mind all the time, and you're just ready to surrender to them and be like, you know what? I give up. I'm ready to just accept that this is who I am. I'm telling you, I face that every day, and it's frightening. You know, I don't want to give up, but you know, I'm fighting. But let me tell you, I feel like I'm getting weaker and weaker every day to fight this battle. It's seriously an uphill battle that I literally don't know if I can win.
Well, you know that your opposition, the ones that are in control of you,
Absolutely.
holding your controller,
Yeah.
it really is. Now this can get a little confusing because he's got the controller, he's playing the game.
Right.
But truly, he's not in control because
I'm the one getting control.
Listen to him.
I'm seriously
he's not in control.
I'm not.
And it's because he's plugged in so much. So there's this other entity that's pushing on these buttons. And when he tries to go, I should be doing this, I should be going out, I should be going, it just pushes harder on him.
It really does. They pull the trigger real hard for me to go back to the game.
Right. But then, okay, now we're gonna go out one more. But truly, the one in control of you and your body and your energy is truly you.
It truly is.
Is really you.
It is.
So it feels very out of control. Anybody who's addicted to anything, alcohol, drugs, shopping, sex, porn, you know, game, it doesn't matter what it is. Anybody who's addicted to anything, that's why there's so many things to be addicted to, because everybody has their flavor. Everybody has their thing that, you know, works best for them. I mean, most people are addicted to multiple things in their lives.
I agree.
You know, not just but there's usually, if you're, you know, there's one big thing.
It's usually pretty rare for someone not to be addicted to something.
And if it's not good enough to really fuck with your life, like I was addicted to cigarette smoking, and I smoked for 25 years, and I was a smoker. Like I'd rather have my cigarettes than a meal, because I'm like, I could find food anywhere, but I don't know where I'm going to get my own cigarettes.
That's the same feeling with the game. Really
and you know, I could go without a meal or two. That's cool, but as long as I had my cigarettes, I was a happy camper. You know, I was like, if I don't, I could eat, but then I'm getting hungry in a couple of hours. Whereas I could make a pack of smokes last, and I'm really good with that, right? So, you know, you start to think these crazy fucking insane shit, the crazy things, but it seems normal because and then you know that that's crazy, that you're acting, that it's really, and when I say crazy, it's like it's not healthy, not normal. You know, this behavior is not good for me.
Right.
And I'm having a hard time making it stop. Something else is driving this train, is pushing on the accelerator, whatever. But it doesn't matter. You don't care. You're like, whatever, you know, it's like, you know it, but you still can't do anything about it because you don't really believe that you can.
Yeah, that's
bottom
absolutely
line.
true.
You don't really believe that you can, because people who are addicted, if you really thought that you could,
it's absolutely true. Even food can be very addictive.
Oh my God,
I'm addicted to food.
Everybody
as well.
has to eat.
Yeah,
food is a horrible one of the most dangerous addictions ever, because you have to eat.
You have to eat, and sugar is a really big thing. They put high fructose corn syrup in everything.
And let's face it, if you're gaming, you're not eating the best diet. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah,
you're not making your own meals.
Because you don't want to cook.
You're not making your own meals. You're not cooking your food. You're eating fast food
really
and
fast.
shit. You're basically eating your 7-Eleven diet is what I call it.
I literally put things in the microwave, and just a couple minutes in the microwave is too long for me. You know, I got to be playing the games. I'm telling you, it's that bad.
What can I eat in under a minute?
Yeah, I'm telling you, it really is like that. It's what can I eat in under a minute so I can put food in my system to go back to playing games. I eat the worst stuff you can think of. You know, anything in the frozen food aisle is horrible, and I eat that all day. You know, and even with the junk food and sugar as well. I mean, it's super addicting, and I really agree with that.
They work together. So
that's
the
close
food
to
addiction,
one of the more addicting things I know.
The food addiction, the sleep deprivation, the digestive issues.
Right. The food's a really bad cycle, because now it makes you unhealthy. It makes you have less energy, you know, and then you want to sit more often. I'm telling you, I have the same problem.
It's all part of the That's why when people start to extrapolate one unhealthy thing from their lives, it's like a domino effect, and everything in their lives start to get healthy because
Right.
Okay, if
Right.
I'm not going to do the games, then I've got to get outside. I got to get away from being inside where I'm normally. This is how people, get, I have to do something completely different. Because of that, because the need to change environment. You need to replace, because when he told me like, okay, like, so there's this like thing with the weed, I knew that like he was trying to not smoke weed every day, just here and there, and at the same time really try not to do the gaming. And I was like, whoa, Nelly, that's a lot.
It was a big void.
I'm like, do you understand how much you're doing to yourself at once?
It was a void that it's hard to replace, especially the games, though, because the reason why the games are so hard to replace, it's not like food where if you start eating healthy, you can start to enjoy that food. But with the games, when you are done with games, you literally don't know what else to do. Like, I face this every day. Where, like, I actually don't know what to do. I don't know. I'm unexplored. Like, I don't explore anything, because, I feel like, again, the world is super dangerous. I feel like the world's super evil and it's always out to get me because that's all I see every day, obviously. But, and I don't like to get out and explore. So then I'm like, well, if I'm just going to stay home all day, I may as well just play games. And it really is a bad thing for me because
but you really do need to get out.
And then I just go on my phone. I just go on my phone. If I'm like, all right, if I'm not going to do the games, then I'll go on my phone and then I'll just watch YouTube all day long.
And this really is a good time of the year for this too, because the weather is nice. You can get outside. We were talking about him doing photography.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
I commend you, Dakota, on recognizing your gaming addiction, and you're awesome. Oh, that's awesome that the spirits connected you with Infinity.
Yeah, and I really do believe that I am here for a reason,
Totally.
And I appreciate that because, it does help me to
talk about it.
To talk about it, especially, like, because, the more I realize it's a real thing,
it's a hard real thing. And after
it's hard to swallow.
After I got the visuals that I got the other day, and especially like in regards to like what happened with Leslie and feeling this thing with Ethan, and it was just kind of this like major warning, like get him out of there, fast, because Leslie, she's also somebody who's supposed to do really great light filled things and be really creative, and she's fought her own demons, and she's beat alcoholism and has been sober now for a year and a half.
That's a big thing.
Just last week, I think it was.
That
so
really
congratulations, my love.
Congratulations.
Yeah, and they've been through a lot, and Ethan, Ethan's had to deal with this stuff too, so it's not easy for him. But this thing with the gaming, on top of it, it was just like I'm seeing it from this perspective, like they're under assault.
Absolutely.
Seriously, like you guys, Leslie and Ethan, are under assault, and he has no idea what he's doing and what's happening and what he's being used for.
And unfortunately,
being used for in this way to get at you guys, to keep him, from same thing, to keep him from going outside, to keep him from being, into nature, to keep him from connecting with other people, to keep him from, buffered, because, he's a sensitive, he's a sensitive, energetic person too, just like his mom, Leslie, and she's self-medicated with alcohol, and people do their things. So she's figured it out, and she's gotten super healthy, and I'm seeing this path for her, and I keep seeing these blocks come in left and right in her life. It's on a level, and it's similar to mine or similar to yours. We all have a lot of these stories. They're very similar because we're the more we're wrapped up in things that are keeping us from really doing the things that we're supposed to be doing, which is being creative, being creational. Can we show some of your art?
Yeah, I'll show you some of the art, and
his
I
art
gotta
is
say,
amazing.
It's amazing, but I'll just tell you that
he's really judgmental about it in his own
I'm
art.
a little judgmental
I try to tell him not to be
because it's because I draw what I see in my mind all day long. It's everything that I see in my mind. And
so this will help.
I can show you a couple pictures.
Here,
I do like the look of them. I think they're wicked, but
no, I think he
wicked.
could really, channel your energy into being artistic is really something you're supposed to be doing.
So I'll start showing you a couple of them, and so this one is like a cat sitting on a skull, right? And it's more and more pictures about evil stuff, honestly, because it's only what's on my mind that I draw, and
I see the talent and the artistic ability,
and this one is definitely I'm telling you, like, this is seriously what I used to think about on a daily basis, and I know it's sinister and wicked, but I think it's badass. Because it's all I think about, it's all I know, and
I mean, it's good, right?
I do like the look of them. I think they're cool, but I just wish that I could be thinking of things that are, I don't know, a little more.
This one's awesome.
Light.
Well, you can be thinking it because you want to. You will. You just have to put your focus there, sweetie. You know what I mean? You have to.
Yeah. Thanks.
You have.
Yeah. I mean,
Isn't it? He's really good.
I really do.
Really good.
I really do think they're cool, but I was drawing these at a time in my life when I was very depressed, and I had a lot of anger and pain inside me.
I know. It's
a lot of pain, and when you realize that the pain starts to come out in everything that you do. Like even my pictures. It was all this pain and agony, and because I was just always feeling like I'm being put down by these games, and or like.
But this is a really
stressful situation.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. I think
so
they're cool.
So let's break it down, right? So we've already said that we know that these games are portals for evil entities and stuff.
Absolutely. Look at exactly.
He's talking about what
these are the evil things that I see in my mind.
Hence what we're looking at. So these are the types of things that will come into his space and his mind and project into his awareness, into his mind, and do what they're meant to do, which is bring his vibration down, cause a certain chain reaction in his energy field, and then you basically feed off of that, and keep doing it over and over and over again.
Right.
But then we have just how great his artistic ability is, and that's what I really choose to focus on here.
I will say
is how
yeah.
awesome he is.
I had to look at a picture to draw them, but it was how I went to seek out the pictures, these types of pictures to draw. I don't find anything else interesting to draw except like stuff like this. It's just like.
Can we show this one?
You want to show that one?
Yeah, I think it's really good. I like the.
This is actually my least favorite one.
I dig it. You have really good shading going on.
Yeah, I was doing pretty good with the shading.
Mm-hmm.
But,
absolutely.
It was I would seek these pictures out to draw them. It was more like that's absolutely like I can't draw anything else. It's all I like to do.
I saw a picture today that I need to draw. I didn't get to it though. You want to see it?
Yeah.
This is. Oh, okay.
I mean, I think they're really cool, though. I mean, I gotta
They are
say,
really cool.
you know, but there are some better things you could be drawing, I gotta say.
Oh my gosh! Wait, what is happening right now?
This is definitely my favorite picture. That one is my absolute favorite, and I spent a lot of time getting that one right.
Let me see.
Yeah,
That was fun, isn't it?
it's pretty cool.
Damn it! I don't know what is wrong with I can't find the picture that you sent, Leslie. Because I was like, I need to draw that. Oh, I can find it here probably. This is or not. Oh yeah, there it is. Ah! I lost it. Son of a. Okay, my thing is just acting all up right now. I'm gonna give it one more try because I'm stubborn like that. Because I'm stubborn like that. There it is.
Yeah. I think it's cool. Oh, that's cute.
Isn't that adorable?
Yeah, that is cute.
I'm gonna draw that.
Yeah.
Can we see? Is it too bright? Leslie sent this
There's
today.
another one.
There we go. Leslie sent this today.
Yeah, that is pretty cute.
Oh my God. I was like, you have got to be kidding with the cuteness quotient. I was like, I'm going to draw it. I didn't draw it today. I took a nap, as we said.
Yeah. But, you know, I don't know. I got to say, you know, this was just during a time when, you know, because that's the thing, you know, I really feel like the world is full of so much evil that this is.
Well, but that's been your perspective. But that's been your perspective, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, you know, I mean, really, I mean, the everything that I've soaked up in my mind has just been pure evil. I mean, you know, I don't want to say it like it's not something that I would ever do, but it's all I think about because it's all I've ever seen. It's
the images that are in there.
You know, it's the images. It's like these flash images. When I close my eyes, when I blink, it's just a flash image of just blood and it's just.
But you have to start more and more and more just telling yourself over and over again how you really are the one ultimately in control of what you focus on.
And you know,
and it's just a habit. It's a true habit.
I want to focus on other things, but I don't know what to focus on, and I can't focus on it for too long a time because my attention span is so short. It's like, for some reason, the blood and the killing is something that I could think about all day long. Like, why is that? It's so disgusting. It's
because it's easy that lower vibrational.
It's easy.
It's easy. Really kind of easy.
You know, I gotta say, it's easier to be an evil person than it is to be a good person. You know, it really takes strength and courage to be a good person. You know, it's really. You know,
it is pretty lazy to be an evil, you know, to just be a let's see what Leslie wrote here. I'm going to have to head off to bed. I'm super tired. I need to be up early and take photo dragons to Santa Fe, but thank you so much Thank you for being here.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Good night. And, you know,
have a good drive.
Thanks for listening to me.
I really for sure. Hopefully we helped a little bit. And Dakota, I'm sure he did. So have a good night and sleep tight.
Yeah.
And I understand being tired. It's definitely one of those days.
Yeah, I know. Me too.
I felt this pressure on the top of my head like all day. Like, you know, when you wear a hat and it's kind of tight and then you take it off and it still feels like that on your head. That like pressure. I felt like that today. But
I felt really lazy today. Like, all I wanted to do was just sit down and keep playing games. Like, I didn't want to get up and do the physical work of, you know, constructing our house. You know, I just wanted to just lay back and just play games all day long. You know, and it's a bad thing for me. It really is. All right, good night.
Nighty night, honey. Love you.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, you know what? One day at a time, though.
Yeah, and that's the thing. The games are hard to go cold turkey. I realized that, something that I learned about was, to actually stop the gaming addiction, the best thing to do is to taper off them. But it's just so hard when you start playing them. You just want to keep playing them.
Tapering off is just
hard.
it's kind of a it seems like a long shot because you have to literally you'd have to have some type of timer on your entire system to just automatically go off to make you stop.
Because your day goes by so quickly, you're just like, oh my God, it's already time to stop. And then not only that, let me tell you the worst thing about this all is when I'm playing this game called Smite, I have to be. It takes up about 30 minutes at a time, right, to play a match, And let me tell you, if the game goes horribly wrong, you're just like, oh my God, I got to keep playing until I get a good game,
Mm-hmm.
And it's. I'm pretty good at the game, but
do you ever tell yourself like I'm gonna play one match or two matches? I'm only gonna play for half an hour.
Oh yeah,
and it ends up being do you do that to yourself?
I do that when I'm doing my homework. It's actually kind of crazy.
That's like worse because then then that's adding a whole other level of
to get through
I'm
my
not
homework.
Following through on what I'm supposed to be doing, right? Because then you feel bad about well now it was a half hour 2 hours ago, so I'm a shitbag. I'm a horrible person. And then you're just feeling horrible about not following through with your own goals.
Yep.
Right?
I know. I even did that when coming here today. Like right before I came here, I was playing games. And, I almost was late, but I had to turn it off. Like, I had to just all right, I'm turning this off to go over there, to talk about this. Like, it's really.
Do you think that because you said when you were younger, you used to not follow through with going and hanging out with your friends? Like, you watched, you know what I mean? Like, do you think you're better in that regard? Like, are you more like, okay, well, if I have plans, I'm not going to not do that. Like, is it a depend on
I
the
will
plans?
be flaky sometimes, because, okay, well, back in the day, I was flaky all the time. Like, in fact, I was flaky every single time.
Right.
Everybody kind of knew I would never come because I was playing games. They never knew why.
They just thought you were flaky.
At the same time, the friends that I always used to go hang out with, they would play games with me, and they'd see I'm on all day.
I'm just going to try to get my cats in, so.
Yeah, I've never really been confronted about it. But, yeah, I was flaky all the time because, I just wanted to go back and keep playing. Like, it really sounds like I'm talking about, like a heroin addiction. It really is. It's that bad, even the people who are doing heroin destroy their social lives. They do anything possible to keep getting their next hit, and they spend a bunch of money. You could spend so much money playing games just like you would on heroin, and you ruin your entire life because you're not getting out doing a job because you'd rather play games. Same thing with heroin. If you're doing heroin, you really can't get a job.
Yeah, I think that's probably why a lot of people end up, like you said, not leaving home and staying with their parents. Because you're
exactly.
Your sense of responsibility and doing anything else just doesn't work. And I think those people, they really, if it gets to that level, there's
really is that bad. It's really bad.
Social issues, social anxiety. You have problems at work and probably relating to other people and probably keeping jobs. Like it could get really bad, right?
Really bad. Really bad. Like you'll call in sick on work all the time just to play games. Like, for me, right now I'm going through.
Like, is it kind of like the bare minimum? Like, I'll do the bare minimum, but I have to.
Oh yeah, all the time. You'll do the bare minimum, easiest way out, just to get back as fast as you can to playing more. Like they have the same correlation, the exact same correlation as a drug, except instead of it really affecting you physically, it affects you mentally.
So what's the payoff? Because there's usually a payoff in any addiction. So what's the payoff?
Okay, yeah. So for a drug, you get a hit of you get all that dopamine. You feel good. Well, it's literally the same thing with games. You literally get dopamine. It's been recorded that people playing games, their brain on games, they're getting high levels of dopamine. And dopamine is the feel-good hormone in your brain. And that's the payoff. You literally get those hits all day long. And let me tell you, if you have a bad game, you don't get those hits. So you're constantly
so then you're frustrated.
Yeah, so you're frustrated. You're really frustrated. And so you keep playing until you get a really good game.
And then you get a hit,
all
right?
those hits. Yeah, you're just like, oh, this feels so good to do so good in this game. But yeah, if you do bad, you'll get really frustrated. You'll get angry. That's why I know a friend, when he plays games, oh my God, he will throw his controller. He'll punch holes in his wall because, he's not getting his hits of dopamine.
Well, this was the problem that happened on Easter, and where Leslie couldn't even focus here on the live with me, and she definitely, we got late to do the meditation, so that it didn't even get there. But she's like, I can't even be in the live because Ethan's in his room cussing and yelling and screaming and saying a whole bunch of horrible things, like he's just going fucking crazy. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, when I see this, I'm sitting there going, well, isn't that just a right time to start acting him up, when his mom's trying to do something, higher level or whatever.
I'm telling you, they don't know.
It happens all the time. It's really a thing with them. All the time. Where,
it's a big thing. You can watch it all day long on YouTube, people raging on games. You'll literally find videos and videos and videos. Forever. There's endless videos of people raging on games. Because let's put it like this. The game, everybody's trying to tap into those hits of dopamine.
And that rage, that energy that you're sending out when that's emitting from you, that frequency, and what that does to anything and everything around you, and how that keeps you from ever it's just this
right.
God. I'm just seeing, it's just this constant, that's why it's so hard to get out of.
Yeah.
Because first off, you have to take yourself away from it, and just taking yourself away from it. I know you said that tapering off is a thing to do, but I just don't see that being effective.
So there's only 3 things you can do. Go cold turkey, taper off, or surrender to them. And all 3 of them are really freaking hard things to do. I'll give you an example, like a good visual of what games are like. Imagine a pool, all right? And it's a pool full of like, I don't know, let's just call it drugs or dopamine or whatever you want to call it. And everybody is like trying to nip at that pool and trying to get their hit of dopamine. And when someone takes it away from them, like when you're playing games, you're usually competing against others. And when that other person takes away your hit, you get frustrated as hell and you get aggravated. You want to do anything to get back at them. People will do death threats. People have done really evil things just because of games. Because
it's like a serious me against you kind of thing.
It really is. And people are all trying to fight for that dopamine in the pool. And there's only so much. It's an endless amount. It's an endless amount, but you want it constantly all the time. That's a really
interesting perspective.
Yeah, exactly. Because see, the difference between games and heroin is heroin lasts a lot longer. Although it'll end, obviously, the high will come down. But the games, you don't get the high all day long. You have to keep playing to keep getting them. So that's the thing.
Yeah, but aren't you just as taken over for just as long either way.
Oh yeah.
You know
yeah.
what I mean?
Both of them. Yeah, like I said, they're almost the
you
same.
do some
exact
heroin
thing.
and you're gone for 10 hours,
They're-
aren't you? Like you're
Exactly.
just like
They're the same thing.
See ya.
You're gone for 10 hours when you play games.
Yeah, and then you'll stop for a minute. I was watching YouTube with my son and saw guys getting angry at game
I'm telling
tournaments.
you, it's
we were
not.
tripping.
It's
I've
literally
never watched. I'm not
it's
aware.
normal. It's so normal.
I'm like, what?
Like,
People go. I mean,
yeah.
I know and I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't know there was actual just videos of people raging.
Oh yeah, it's so normal. It's so normal for people to rage. You know, especially the game that I play, Smite. This game is so toxic, so toxic. Everybody, you know, even you're yelling at your own teammates because your teammates aren't doing good, so it screws up the rest of the team.
Oh wow!
Oh yeah, yeah. If
so it's
one
like really like it could
bad,
be abusive and dysfunctional.
Oh yeah,
and
you're getting mad at the other team and you're getting mad at your own team every single game.
Wow.
Unless your team's doing really good, you're cool with them. But if they're doing bad, oh god, it's toxic, toxic. I mean, like you'll get death threats. They'll harass you. You'll go back and forth messages of how you're doing the wrong thing or how he's doing the wrong. I mean, it goes on. I mean, like it. But that's the price you pay because the game's so damn addicting that the reason why is because it's so hard that when you win, it feels so good, and that's why everybody freaking plays it is because. You're just going for that win. That win is everything. It's everything. And when your team screws it up, oh, you're getting angry. You know, I'm telling you. Like I punched my TV one time. Like it got that bad. Like, you know, I mellowed out. Like I'm not so like I can control my anger on the games. But you know, yeah, when I was younger, oh, I'd get frustrated.
What if you just okay, here's an idea. Like, what if you were to go, okay, I'm not going to stop with the games cold turkey because, you know, maybe you're not ready for that or whatever.
Yeah, it
hasn't
hard.
worked for you. Well, yeah, sure, it would be hard. It's very hard. Unless you're like totally like so. Here's my thing. It's like either you're a child and your parent has to take control for you, which is what is going on with Leslie.
I recommend you never get your child into games at all.
Well, yeah, obviously.
Ever.
This is a cautionary tale to what happens when you think it's harmless.
Yeah.
It's really not on so many levels. Okay, so that just goes without saying. Please don't. Because if I had known, I wouldn't have, you know, been so into letting, you know, into it or into letting my son and being into it if I had known. Well, I could say that about a lot of things, right?
Yeah, no, seriously, like.
But what if you were to unplug from the games that you know, sort of say Smite?
I couldn't.
And play something completely different.
Well, the other games
that didn't have anything to do with, you know, interacting with other people, like, you know.
Yeah, they're too boring. That's the thing; they're too boring. That like, it's like almost not playing them at all. You know, I'm telling you, this one game is so addicting. Just for me, maybe. I don't know about others. I mean, it has a player base pretty big, but it's just like you can't just like there are games where there's no killing. There are games where you do parkour and you jump around, you have fun. But for me, it's not fun at all. It's not as fun as killing. It's really like morbid. But it really is. There's nothing as sweet as that.
So each of the tournaments or whatever is like a fight to the death kind of thing?
Oh, practically, yeah. I mean, there are no games in which there are tournaments, unless it's a racing game, I guess. But yeah, there's virtually like no tournament-based games that are... if there are, it's far and few between. I mean, where there are, there's no killing. Or even like this one game I play, it's Hearthstone on your phone. It's a card-based game, but it's fun because at the end of the day, you're still trying to kill the other player. You know, it's not visually like you're trying to slash them and like actually kill them. It's like card based, like your numbers are trying to damage them and basically break them. But at the end of the day, you know, it's still all about fighting and killing, and it's still the same thing. It really is. It's all the same thing at the end of the day. You know, I mean,
I think right now you're having an extra hard time, honestly, for the same reason why a few days ago he had, yeah, I know it's wild, but the same, your lower back was, his lower back was really hurting.
It's actually starting back up right now, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's because he's, you know, his energetic system, he's like waking up. So his energy, his soul, his light body is activating and really pushing against not doing this. And then you have the dark side that's, you know, there's a war going on with you. There's a literal light, dark war going on because we are going through these portals. We are getting activated. Yeah. Like this, like when we did the healing the other day, he got super lightheaded. We had to get my table.
Yeah, I was really lightheaded. It was crazy. Never, something I never had felt before. Like my back was, it felt like I threw out my back. And when she had done her healing on me, I literally felt nothing after that. It was actually incredible. You know, I don't feel it in the same spot. That has gone completely away. It's now more in the middle of my back now. You know,
moving up.
Yeah, you know, it's.
And I told him, I said it'll probably happen where it'll move up because there was so much trapped energy. Because this is his natural light body and what's going on energetically through these portals and new moons and full moons and everything. And because of his age and because really his mission in life is to do a lot of really good charitable work, and he has these aspirations. We haven't even talked about that, but. He's a very much, you know, wanting to help a lot of people type of person.
I do. You know, that's why I'm here now. I want to help spread the word about this serious issue. You know, it's a really big issue.
Because I think you know that, like, this is, you know, can potentially really get in the way of your life and you doing what you need to be doing.
You know, I'll just say this.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely. And because drugs are one thing. You know, a lot of people will say no to drugs, but games are very different. It's almost like the perfect way to psychologically affect an entire nation. Because if everybody has a phone.
Well,
everybody has a phone. Or world.
Really, it's everywhere.
You know, everybody has a phone. And that's the thing. The most brilliant invention to do long distance communication has been tainted and corrupted into a device that psychologically manipulates and controls people.
It's the same thing with, you know, Facebook too. Back to that, they found out that the likes and the attention or that, you know, that if you don't get attention, you get really depressed. Or if you see other people having a better looking life or doing more fun things or having more people or everything is so great looking, then you feel down on yourself. But but seeing certain things kind of sets off, you know, these triggers, the dopamine, the ding, 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 that like gets you, you know, going, and people get just as addicted to that. And they figured out that, like, to make your phone, if you are on these apps, a lot of people have stopped doing it because they've realized that, you know, it's not real. It's crazy. It really affects you mentally and emotionally and energetically. And it's a skewed view of reality. And a lot of what you get in your consciousness, you're not in control of. It's kind of like watching TV and whatever commercials come up, you know, you're not in control of that. You may put on a certain show, and depending on the show that you're watching, certain commercials will come up. You know, if you see different commercials with the different shows, you know, I mean, they do that on purpose. And you don't have any control over that. Well, it's very similar when you're on, you know, something like Facebook.
Oh yeah, the news is completely designed to brainwash and indoctrinate everyone. It's created by the CIA and bought off by many different countries to indoctrinate and totally plague your mind.
Yeah, and what you
It
see in
literally
reality,
is.
what you see on the news isn't.
Yeah, and
that's why like somebody was
yeah.
saying to me the other day, like about like how bad the world is.
Yeah,
and I was like,
they always show it.
And I was like, well, yeah, because that's what you're seeing on TV is how bad the world. There isn't the news about all the wonderful things going on in the world. Do you know that channel?
That's so
I don't
true.
know of that channel.
That's so true.
I don't know of that channel where people go out like, hey, I'm with so and so, and he's building a house for so and so. I mean, every once in a while they'll show you these cute little stories, but there isn't 24/7 of the greatest things people are doing.
Sells.
Because it's not that exciting.
That's so true. Bad news sells. It's not as exciting as good news. I mean, I don't know why that is, but nobody wants to hear about the guy who, painted all these different churches or saved all these different orphans, hypothetically.
Because
no one wants to hear about it. I don't know why, but they want to hear about how the one woman got raped and killed,
or the churches got exploded,
or the church got got set on fire.
And it's just because it creates a vibration in the collective that keeps us in fear and keeps people from expanding their consciousness, really. If your focus is on the beautiful, wonderful things in the world that's going on, then that's what you're going to be thinking about, and it's going to motivate you to do the beautiful, wonderful things in the world, and to see the beautiful, wonderful things in the world, and to be motivated to create beautiful, wonderful things in the world.
Absolutely.
But if your focus is on all of toxic, horrible things in the world, that's what you're going to be thinking about, and you're going to have that vibe within yourself as well, and you're probably going to medicate because you're like, fuck it, the world sucks. I'm going to go drink. I'm going to go, shop and have a shit ton of debt. I'm gonna play some games for the whole weekend, or I'm gonna Netflix it and not see sunlight for 48 straight hours, maybe.
And now that's a really interesting comment, because I'll tell you,
I was just
electronics and technology,
the social effects of electronics.
Technology, I really believe, is some of the most evil inventions ever created on the planet. They are absolutely, they're the easiest and most effective and fastest way to psychologically manipulate and control an entire population. See, back in the day when nobody had the phone and all that, you had to get out and get your news, and people still did it that way by spreading rumors and all that. It was harder. But technology is so easy to psychologically manipulate and control everyone's thoughts, everyone's perspective of life, and to control the way you think and what you do. Literally, subliminally, what you start to see and all that, you'll start to do. And the people who designed these things that's exactly what they want.
Well, yeah, it's brainwashing. How do we brainwash? How do we control? How do we how do you get the people to spend money, spend time,
spend a lot of time and money? Very true.
Your time and money are obviously the two most valuable things that you have, aside from your health, right? Is your time and your money.
But it affects your health too.
Right.
Once you start spending all that time on your phone and in the games, it starts affecting your health. It's a big nasty circle that is so perfectly designed by technology. It taps into every single part of you that is that they would have to do in multiple different ways. They can all do in just one little device. They can manipulate every part of you.
And there's apps for that. There's apps and games and stuff for anybody to have their thing that they're addicted to, and
it really is. It really is.
It is scary. Right. It is right in our focus. So we have to be aware and take control of that. I realized a while back, I went many months without a phone or anything at all. And I liked it that way. Yeah. I didn't have anything. I wasn't connected in that way. It was awesome. I didn't miss it. It's I missed some of the aspects about it, but for the most part, I didn't.
Mean, having a phone is beneficial, but let me tell you, sometimes you're almost if you had a flip phone, I know it sounds it's crazy. To go from an iPhone to a flip phone, Well, the thing is, though, is you won't get that
I
psychological
would just need a
indoctrination.
camera.
See, you
As
want
long as I can take a camera. As long as I can take pictures, I'd be happy.
exactly. See,
That's like really what I use my phone for. Is
not
my
all
camera
technology
for the most
is
part.
bad.
No, and so
Right.
what I realized is that I'm not on Twitter, I'm not on Facebook, I don't do games. I am really the one social media thing that I do is Instagram and YouTube too. But for the most part, I do YouTube on here when I'm doing my own thing. I watch a little bit of YouTube and I keep myself informed on stuff because it's my job.
Yeah.
But because I kind of have to, but
Right.
I'm really choosy about certain things, and I know that if I'm meant to know things, it'll just come to me.
Yeah, that's true.
That's just kind of how it's supposed to be.
I have that happen.
But I did realize that it's something that really helps, no matter how little you are on the phone. A good thing to do is just to turn off your notifications for pretty much everything. And this is something that I started doing. I guess it's been like 2 months now, something like that. Like, I don't even get notifications for text messages. Nothing. I get no notifications on my phone for anything.
Really?
So this is why sometimes it may take me a little bit of time to get back to people, because I realize even if it was just Instagram, just YouTube, just my email, and just texting, that was enough channels to come in and interrupt anything that I might be doing with a little ding, 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 and nothing is that important to stop me from doing what I'm doing, whatever it is that I'm doing.
Very true.
And if it is that important, they'll call me. And if it's even, you know what I mean? Like, and if it's that I got a session for healing, I'll figure it out in 20 minutes or an hour when I look at my phone, when I'm done doing whatever it is that I'm totally into, like, or when I need to look at my phone for something, then I'll be like, I'll check it. I'll do the rounds. What's in my email? What's in my text? What's in my Instagram? Okay. Or I won't, because I don't want to be further distracted. I needed to look at it for this.
Right.
And that it's also like my gateway to get a lot of information really quickly.
That's very true.
But it doesn't mean that I need to be bombarded with everything else that's coming at me until I choose it to be like that. It's kind of like when you walk out to your mailbox is when you're ready to look at your fucking mail. Your mail's not thrown at you through your window and you're like, fuck, there's that bill. I guess I got to deal with this right now. You know what I mean? Like, that's just weird. Like, somebody doesn't just pop into your house and go, hey, I have a question for you. And you're like, hi, you have to kind of see it like that. Like, protect your space, and don't let anything come at you at any time. When I realized that, it was just like, oh my God, I'm having a hard time, because I'm the type of person who, I do want to give other people my attention, or other things my attention. And I do kind of get pulled away. So I had to take control and be like, okay, what's really a priority here? What's really important? And then make that, take back control is really what you got to do. You have to recognize these things are very powerful. Technology and the things that can come with it, we need to use it. It doesn't need to use us. Yeah. And we need to take control of how we use it and when we use it. Right. And that it's not, completely infecting our lives and taking over everything and disconnecting you from really what and who you are and what you should be doing and what's good for you and what you're supposed to be putting out into the world. Because you have so many gifts and talents, and
it's very true
that you could be doing things in that time that 8 hours, that's 5 hours, that however many hours that you could be being productive, really doing awesome shit, and doing your drawing. I really think that I've been showing him my photography and trying to get him into that, because I think that you'd enjoy that too.
I'm trying to, but I'm telling you, it's hard to honestly stay focused and to actually enjoy anything that's not a game. It really is that. It's really difficult.
Maybe you have to start taking you and your dog in the car and going and driving and going on a hike and making yourself.
I actually find that scary to me, because I feel like the outside world, anything outside my house is evil. And
but see, the more that you do it, you'll see that it's nothing's gonna happen. I know. And you're gonna be okay.
That's true.
And you'll come back feeling better, because you've been out in nature, connecting with Gaia, and your dog will be happy, and you'll be energized, and then you'll be tired.
It's very true.
And you'll be like, okay, I'll play games until I go to sleep, and then you'll be like, and you'll go to sleep.
Right. Yeah, because I'm not kidding.
You have to take yourself into a space where you're forced to just completely be away from
I'm,
it. And like
I'm
I said,
actually terrified of the outside world.
Well, then you know what? You and I will go together.
I mean, I have
Let's go together.
I have to.
You know,
I mean,
because I love to go. I love to be outside in nature and really, you know, and maybe that's just what you need, you know. And
I need
a ride because I don't have a car.
That's true. Yeah, you can take my truck.
I don't have a car right now, so I need somebody to take me out to nature. So no, seriously, Rosie's a little dog, but she loves to go hiking. She loves to go climbing.
I like to do hikes.
You do?
Yeah.
So, and I know Angel would absolutely love
Angel would love it.
Angel would love it.
Yeah.
So maybe this is something we need to do, you know, for both of us. This would be really good.
Yeah.
Just completely extrapolate yourself from
it.
Because he can be here hanging out with me for like 6 hours straight. He's not like, hey, Infinity, okay, bye. And he like takes off. Like, no, like we'll totally have it.
It's on the back of my mind, but I control it because I also find it enjoyable to talk to other people at the same time because I don't do it very often. So it's also something I do enjoy.
Neither do I. There's not too many people I want to hang out with and talk to for hours, to be honest with you. I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
Honestly. It's true. It's true. I'd rather be by myself, like I said. I don't even have notifications on my phone because I like my own space. I need it.
Yeah.
It's extraordinarily important to me to protect and have my own space and do my own thing and have those. And it's not in a negative way. It's just because
No, I'm the same way. Yeah.
You know, there's certain things I need to do, and I need my own space for that. Like I don't have TV or cable. I try
to steer away from TV.
I keep my environment is I decided not to even have my TV like out in the main room.
I know that's not very normal for many households.
Yeah.
I will say that.
I don't have the TV in the main room. I have plants.
I mean, it looks much prettier.
Isn't it prettier?
Yeah.
I have plants and I have look, I'll show you guys. This is the main room that we're in right now. And this is the main. I have this plant that I've been moving it around, but I had other plants that now have gone outside. You guys can see. This is the main room. I painted that, but I'm still getting stuff. I just moved here and I've been painting and stuff. But yeah, I don't even have, it was there because I was used to being in one space that had my TV and had everything. By habit, I did the same thing here, and it was just taking over. It took over the whole window. I only have a 32-inch TV. They don't get much smaller than that, but it seriously took over almost the whole thing. And then one night, I just really wanted to lay in bed and have TV, so I took the TV in there into my bedroom. And I don't spend a lot of time in my bedroom. It's just like, either I'm going to take a nap, I go to sleep, I'm going to go, shut it down for the night maybe, or eat my dinner and spend time in there and stuff. And I just figured it's better not to have be looking at that all the time,
Yeah, Infinity. I mean, that's my thing. I watch YouTube all day long too.
I have YouTube because I enjoy watching.
I don't.
And even then, I have to be like,
media.
"Hey, I'm going to be on today" because she's not. She's like,
right.
And I totally respect that, and I tell people, the more that you can disconnect, the better. And a lot of this stuff I do just because I have to. Literally, I have to.
Yeah.
And I even do that to a minimum and a lot less than, and it's time consuming, it is time consuming, and doing stuff like drawing, like you and I need to spend time. I want to do an Infinity art night where we set up, we're going to do some art, and that'll be really fun.
I'm not too good on drawing if I'm not looking at a picture.
Yeah. And I was telling him, I used to be like that too. I used to be very much like, if I had reference, I learned to do pretty well, but then my abilities improved and now I can just kind of extrapolate it, which is fun, but it takes practice.
Yeah, it does.
But you definitely have a gift and an ability, and it's meant to be cultivated and it's not always going to be the same things that you're going to draw. You know what I mean? It's going to evolve. It's going to change. Just like it will. Because it has to, right?
Yeah.
How could it not?
Yeah, I agree.
Your focus is going to be different. You're going to be different. You're still, I know it feels like you've been around a really long time, but you haven't. You know
I know.
I
I still have a lot to go through. I'm not.
You're still pretty. He's only 18. You're you just turned 18, right? In January.
Yeah, I just turned 18.
Yeah, and so you've had you know what it is? You have to understand. Okay, let's get excited about this. You have to look at it like you've been on like the bottom floor in a little studio with one window, and you're looking at the cinder block wall and a garbage can.
Yeah. This
is your view, and you're like, ugh.
Right. That's actually very true. I gotta say. That does paint an image.
It does, right? It's seriously what he's like. He's like this. Bleh.
Yeah.
But you can change your perspective and how many windows you have in your home, and start to get up into the high rise and have like all this perspective and not the focus of this is just it. So I'm going to look here. You're going to want to look up and out. That's the idea.
What I want.
That's the idea.
That really is what I want, because I know there's so much out there for me to.
Oh my God, yeah.
To see and to experience.
And to be a part of.
I'm so focused on.
Be a part of.
Absolutely. But for some reason, I'm just so focused on the evil and the pain of just the agony of this world. Like,
you have to understand that it's also you've been manipulated to have this focus.
Yeah.
So
I've been indoctrinated.
So you will stay in this pit of despair and looking at the shit view, because it keeps you from doing the wonderful things you're meant to do in your life. It's really simple.
It really, and I understand how simple the concept is. And
you have to be like, well, wait a second, who is keeping me from what anyway? And why is that happening? And who is allowing this to happen? And you know what I mean? And it's all going to come back to you.
Right. I agree.
Every single answer. You can say it's the technology, it's the demons, it's the this, it's the that.
Eventually you got to stop blaming the world and start understanding that at the end of the day, you are feeding into it.
Let me tell you, let me just quickly tell you guys this story really quick about, like I said, I used to smoke. I smoked for 25 years. I would rather have my cigarettes than a meal or money. If I had $5 and I didn't know where the next 5 were coming from, I would be like, I'm going to go buy that pack of cigarettes because, I can get food anywhere, right? This is what I've already said.
Yeah.
So this is how I felt about cigarettes. I used to smoke inside my home because I felt I'm an adult. This is my effing house.
Yeah.
And if I don't feel like going outside for every cigarette, so be it. Okay. Right. I smoked in bed. I smoked, I was a full on, and I admit it, I'm not proud of it, but I admit it because it's the truth, and I had these really real, bad, like when you're an addict in these ways, you do things that to other people is fucking insane.
Yeah.
They're like, okay. Like, you know, and I get that too, but whatever, it is what it is. And what's really interesting about that is that my father smoked all his life. So all my life, my father was a smoker, and I hated it as a child. Like when he would light up, it would affect me. I was super sensitive to it. I didn't have asthma and I wasn't allergic to it. I was just extremely sensitive to it. And I fucking hated it. I hated it. Oh, and I hated it because I knew, he's my dad and he's smoking. That's not a good thing. You know what I mean? It's just like you watch your parents do anything destructive and it worries you.
Yeah, that's true.
As a child.
That's true.
So I hated it, but here I became a smoker myself. I started with clove cigarettes. Clove cigarettes are really addictive because they taste really good. They're different than tobacco cigarettes.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, they're literally smoking cloves. Like, what a clove. Yeah, you're smoking cloves, and they're super harsh on you and whatever.
Really?
And after, I mean, I was like 18. I was really like 18, 19.
Wow.
Yeah, I was pretty old.
Wow.
And I was with people who they were at a bachelorette party actually, and some of them had cigarettes, which I wanted nothing to do with, but some of them had cloves, and they're like, "Have you added clove?" And I was like, "No, what is that?" I had no idea what it was. I'd never heard of it before, and they're like, "Oh, you have to try it. It's nothing like a cigarette." And I loved it. Oh my God. It set me back and forward to who knows how many lifetimes of sitting around in a teepee as a medicine woman or shaman, just smoking on my pipe. The whole smoking thing came back, and I was like, I was into it. I loved it.
Wow.
Yeah, because it tastes really good.
Wow.
And the smoke is like really thick. And I swear to God, I know for a fact I've had these lifetimes before where smoking is really a part of a lot of indigenous cultures.
Yeah.
Smoking different things. And so if you're a smoke, like I smoke weed and I love it. I love smoking.
Right. I used to too.
I'm like, smoke. So it was clove, but it was really intense. And so after like a year and a half of smoking cloves, you're not supposed to smoke cloves like all day long, all the time. Like you're just not. And it's not like I smoked them all day long, but like a break at work, I would go smoke my cloves. Like after my meals, like I smoke cloves like people smoke regular cigarettes, but it was like that. And then I was like, well, what do I do now when I'm all habitual, like into this habitual thing with my smoking?
Yeah.
I smoke cloves when I drive. I smoke cloves when I eat, after I eat, like I said, it's just like that thing that you do with smoking. Right. So then I switched to regular cigarettes, and this is when I was about,
oh man.
Yeah. So this is what were my options.
Yeah.
Stopping.
Yeah.
And so, so that started my relationship with cigarette smoking for the next 25 years. 25 years I smoked.
That's a long time.
Yes.
Wow, that's a long time.
Yes. And I know if you would have said when I bought that first pack of cigarettes, you're going to be a smoker and you're going to smoke for 25 years and you're going to try to stop a couple times. You're even going to take medication to help you stop smoking. And that may and may not be effective because I had both experiences with that.
Yeah, that's.
I would have said, you're crazy. You're crazy. I would have said that about a lot of stuff in my life, but I would have said you're absolutely insane. No way. Because I always kind of considered myself like the non-smoker who smoked, which really is the craziest oxymoron.
Yeah, that is.
It's like the stupidest thing ever because it's like while I hated it, I still smoked. And while I hated it most all of my life growing up till I was like near like 18, 19 years old, I hated it. I found out a boyfriend smoked. He hid it from me. I broke up with him when I was in high school. Yeah, that's how much I hated smoking. I'm like, I can't believe he lied to me, and I didn't know that he smoked. And I was so disappointed, and I hear it. Then I ended up becoming a smoker.
Yeah, that's
hypocrite. Whatever.
Yeah.
And okay, so fast forward to at this point now, I think I quit smoking like maybe like 4 years ago, somewhere in there.
Wow.
I don't really remember when, but I got really sick and I thought it was the flu. It turns out like a lot of flus and colds that we get, they're like spontaneous detox. They're energetic detoxes when like all of a sudden, like, kind of with your back, it's the same thing. Yeah. You'll just get sick just out of the blue. You'll be sick and you'll go, where the F did this come from? Usually it's like a chest thing because it's your heart chakra, or it'll be your stomach, and it'll be your from your solar plexus on down to your root. That is transmuting energy. Sometimes it's just, the headache thing, the real pressure, a lot of like drainage in your, and like you have a head cold, but it's just a lot of drainage and sneezing and that whole area is being activated and whatever. or you could have them all happen at once, and that's called the flu. And a lot of people call that the flu, and when it's actually not the flu, and it's not actually contagious, because what your body is reacting to energetically, it's kind of like a yawn. Do you know how yawns work and why yawns are contagious?
Right.
Because when you yawn, you're getting a real awesome hit of pure oxygen to your brain, so you can think better, so you can use your faculties better. It makes it so, because you start to get tired, you're not going to be as reactionary to something coming at you, right?
Oh, wow, that's interesting.
So yeah, this is why we yawn. So you yawn to like get some oxygen flowing in your system, to get some energy back going. And if I see you yawn, I go, my energy system goes, oh, he's going to be smarter than me in a second.
Oh, really? Oh, how funny. That's so funny.
And then I'll yawn because you're yawning. And it even works with animals. And animals,
it's very contagious.
It's very contagious. It's energetically a boom. Like I see you getting I want a hit.
Yeah.
So you get a hit. And that's what a yawn is. It's very interesting. So... It's very interesting.
I was just yawning a couple minutes ago. I'm trying to like nod.
Yeah, yawns are hard to hold. Willow pillow. Yawns are really hard to. Yeah, I found that out.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
Yeah, I found that out years ago. Why are yawns contagious? Because your brain is getting a hit of oxygen to make you smarter for that moment. You know,
that's
wake
so
up, dummy.
Yeah. Wow, that's so funny.
Wake up, dummy. And then I see you with you getting smarter, and I want to get smarter. So we yawn. And so the same thing happens when you get sick with a cold or a flu, and we happen to be living together. Say you're my brother, you're my son, you're my boyfriend, husband, whatever, it doesn't matter, right? We're a family, children, people, whatever. There's this thing that our energetic body does that goes, let's clean you out and up. And the stuff that happens usually during the flu and cold season, during the winter months, as we know, you don't go to a doctor and, there's flu shots, but that's to take care of symptomatic stuff. And it's actually to shut down what's going on with you energetically. It's to make your system stop doing what it started doing, when it really is good for your body to clean out like that.
A lot of medicines just mask your symptoms.
And they make it stop. They make the natural progression of natural process of what your body is trying to do stop doing that, which is not good for your body. And that's why a lot of people, like, you could be like, yeah, I'm not sick anymore, but I still feel like shit, because you didn't get over, like, really, you didn't get out, like, really what needed to come out. If you take that thing that shuts down your sneezing or your the drainy nose, a lot of people think like, oh, that's allergies. Well, there may be a high pollen count, but a lot of times that has nothing to do with allergies. After I stopped not only smoking, but after I like raised my vibration and did a lot of clearing out, it can be spring all effing day. I don't get allergies the way I used to. It had nothing to do. Yeah, it had nothing to do with that.
That's interesting.
And a lot of people have no idea that a lot of times when people get sick or that, get a cold or a flu, that this is what's happening. It's a spontaneous detox. Sometimes, like I said, flu, colds, like we're really, like colds are more like up in here. So it's your third eye. Could be your throat gets really sore. That's your throat chakra. That's your throat chakra. It could be a chest cold. It's like, oh, I got this really bad bronchitis thing going on. It's all of that dirty, nasty energy that gets stuck in our chest that needs to get out. And it's purely energy. A lot of people, if they would really work on energy healing when they had illness, like when they started to feel this coming up, they would get over it faster. But if they did energy healing kind of on the regular anyway, they would never get sick. And it's not because, oh, I'm so healthy, I don't get sick. It's because you're energetically keeping yourself clean. You don't have a reason to get sick. Your body doesn't take over and say, okay, we're pulling the plug on this and we have to clean you out. Kind of like the same way where, you start to activate with your chakras because of energies coming in, and we get serious pain like in our backs and stuff. That's because, like, remember what happened? I said, you're really backed up with energy. It's like there's a there's a dam.
Yeah.
Energy wants to flow with you big time. You're activating, and there is this dam. And when I started getting in there and having him release, he got so lightheaded because there was so much energy.
I was getting really, I couldn't even stand.
No, he couldn't stand.
Yeah. Like, and like when we went to do it again, like,
and he's a big guy.
Yeah.
He's tall.
Yeah. I was getting really
How tall are you?
About 6'3".
Yeah, and he's still growing. Like,
yeah, I know.
Every time I see him, I'm like, yeah, there's another quarter inch.
I kind of want to stop growing though. Like, you start to hit your head on everything.
But yeah, so like we started, he got lightheaded, he sat down, and then we waited until he was like back, and then he stood up. We started back again, and real quick, he got lightheaded, and then we went and got my table. So and that's why I have a table to do healing, because it's hard to be on your feet when a whole bunch of energy is going on and transmuting.
Yeah. No, I know.
Yeah, he's really tall. So anyway, so I was going, and I didn't know this whole like detoxing at the time. I was really sick. I had the whole chest thing going on. I had the throat thing going on. I had the head thing going on. I don't think my stomach was doing too good either, but I don't remember that. But it was almost like it was one of the sickest I had been in my entire life. And this was after like my awakening process started, and I started, researching a bunch of stuff and, really getting in touch with who and what I was to a certain extent at that point, because this was a few years ago.
Okay.
And I'm like on the couch really going, am I gonna like, this is bad. And I was wheezing.
Wow.
Yeah. Like, when you're like you can hear that whistle from people when they get so sick and they cough and they cannot catch their breath.
Right.
Like the people with COPD or, emphysema, that sort of thing. That's how I was coughing. It was really fucking bad. Really, really scary. Like I was sweating and kind of crying because like I couldn't catch my breath.
Jeez.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's scary.
It really was. And one of the scariest things that had always been part of my, like this, it always felt like this huge cloud over me my whole adult life because I smoked. And I always, like I said, I was really upset about my dad smoking. And, as a child and how bad that was. And then as a parent, like I smoked the entire time my child was, from the, time he was before he was born, right?
Yeah.
Do the math.
Oh, yeah.
And so I felt extraordinarily guilty about that. And guess who smokes? My kid.
Oh, does he now?
Mm-hmm. And since he was like, I don't even know. And, oh yeah. So I even, so it was this like cloud, but most of anything, I could always kind of envision myself like laying on the bed, barely able to breathe, had like, either something going on with my throat or my lungs and dying in this way, and just always having these visions of this horrible death and not being able to catch my breath.
That sounds horrible.
I know. And it was always very scary to me every time I thought about that. And then I thought, well, who, well, yeah, you've smoked like a fucking chimney and for your entire life practically, like who's going to be like, you know what I mean? Like I was just kind of always like, and then that made me feel even worse because it's like you literally put yourself there.
Yeah, that's so true.
Like how insane is that? So I felt guilty about that on top of it. But you have to remember, I was a very sick person with my fibromyalgia. I had a really bad, you know what I mean? Like I wanted to die. Like I said it before, I was suicidal and I really didn't want to live past 55.
Yeah, that fibromyalgia is no joke.
No joke. And then again, that's just energy, fucking with you. And so really, I really hope, and I would tell people, like, I really am hoping, like, I die by 55 because that's just, like, kind of long enough to me.
Yeah, that's
And
horrible.
because my life just was that shitty. So, yeah, I was killing myself slowly with the cigarettes, even though I knew I didn't want to do that. You know what I mean? Like, you do things you don't want to do that are bad for you because you really, like, okay, so let's move. I'm on the couch. I'm sick. I feel like I'm dying. I'm wheezing. I can't catch any breath. And my head is kind of like in the pillows and the blankets. And all of a sudden I hear my spirit tribe, my guides, And they go, so do you want to die like this? Like, how does this feel to you right now?
Yeah.
And I was like, is that what's going to happen eventually? Like, is this like one of those like previews? Like, yeah, you'll eventually get better from being sick right now. Like, you're not going to die right now. But this is a nice little preview on what it feels like to be in this condition.
Really, I bet.
Right?
I bet.
It was.
Yeah.
And how do you feel about that right now? How do you like that right now? Do you really? And then here's the kicker. Here was the question that really broke my noodle. Do you really hate yourself this much?
Yeah. That
you're doing this to yourself? Because here I was going, like, literally coughing, hacking and stuff. I would get up, light a cigarette, and start smoking.
Jeez.
Hacking, coughing.
That really is bad.
And then go lay back down and do it all over again. Then the question is, do you really hate yourself this much? And I'm like, well, I don't think I really hated myself at all. But what? Do you really hate yourself this much? Do you hate yourself this much? Do you hate yourself this much? Because if you do, then you're right on track. You're doing a great job.
Right.
Just keep it up, honey. If you hate yourself this much. And I was just like, fuck me right now. You know what I mean? Like, nobody's ever asked me that question before.
Really?
And I was like, they're like, because you're really, this is like kind of one of those like crossroads for you, really. Like, this is a really good kind of, I felt the impression of that. I felt like you really need to start making some, like, how is it going to be for you? You've been smoking for 25 years. You're getting sick to this point where you can barely breathe. You continue to light up your cigarettes.
Wow.
In the middle, not like I'm sick. I'm not going to smoke for this week. Like some people did. No. Like some people do when they're sick.
Yeah, that's
not me.
I know that feeling. Yeah, I mean, not with the cigarettes, but with the games. You know.
Exactly. So how much do you love yourself? How much do you hate yourself is really the question here. Yeah. And you have to decide, do you love and I was like, so it was a really intense moment. Let me tell you, this is one of the most intense moments of my entire life. It was super intense because I was already like in this frenzy of all these things and images and feelings and guilt and shame and being sick and what's going to happen in my future. And while I do want to die young, I don't want to die like this. And you know what I mean? Like, it was really weird for me. And this is after I cured myself from fibro. This is after years. Oh yeah. This is after I was fine from fibro. I wasn't sick anymore from fibro. I continued to smoke. Yes. It wasn't like I cured myself from fibro and stopped smoking cigarettes. Let's not get crazy.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yeah. So this is one of those things where it's like you overcame that reality, but I still was in this turmoil after not being sick with fibro anymore, where I just still was very disconnected from my own self, and that's what really started. There was different things that really put me on that trajectory to really kind of go, wait a second, and then it was, you're here for a reason. You've been, you misunderstood yourself, but then once you understood yourself, you still didn't stop hurting yourself. Like you're still hurting yourself. And is that because you hate yourself? Do you hate yourself this much that you're going to fuck up your life and destroy your life in this ridiculous way? Because the choice is yours. And I just kind of laid there just going, oh my God, you know, and everything in me was like, yeah, this is not right.
Yeah.
This is just not right. This is not the way I'm supposed to feel. This is not the way I'm supposed to live. This is not the way I'm supposed to see my future. None of this is right. And I got kind of like angry with myself and with, but I was so grateful for them coming at me like that, like in a really hard way. Like I felt like they were screaming in my ears. Like I was like this on the couch. Like seriously, it was fucking intense. Like it felt like everything fell away and I was just in this pit and I was just like, I was fully conscious. I wasn't meditating or anything. I had just been like going through hours of having a fuck hard time breathing.
Yeah.
and then every 30 minutes getting the balls to light up a cigarette again.
Yeah.
And try to smoke it and try to tell myself I'm not that sick. I think that's what I was trying to do. Like I was in this weird, really weird place.
Wow.
And it was like, okay, enough is enough.
Man, that must have been a really tough moment. But
yeah,
it was probably one.
That's giving me a headache thinking about it. But it was transformative, because it really made me look at myself in a whole new way. Was like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Do you really want to do this to yourself? Because you're doing a damn good job of it. And you know that you are. Look at you.
Yeah.
You're not oblivious to the effects of what's going on here and what's been going on for years and years and years and years. Despite what you may know, you have not stopped, And I'm like, so you must hate yourself.
You try and find every way to make it seem like, oh, well, it's not that bad, and to keep doing it because you don't want to stop in a way,
No, you can justify fucking anything.
Yeah, I know. You get in your head and you can justify anything. Everybody does it. Everybody does it.
Anything. Yeah. This is why people are so horrible to each other when they are, because they did this to me. They acted like, you know what I mean? So, I mean. But
at the end of the day, you have to realize, there's a certain point in which there are things you can't control and there are things that you really can control. And you have to realize you got to stop being the victim. When you keep blaming the world for all your problems, like I can blame, the evil people that tried to indoctrinate me, to keep playing games my whole life, to keep me down my whole life and to never, wake up out of that, constant state of almost mind paralysis. I could blame them for that, or, I can stop being the victim and saying, well, at the same time, I'm the one that keeps doing it. I could just keep blaming them and say, oh, fuck these people. But at the end of the day, what are you going to do? Are you just going to keep playing them still? Or are you going to realize, you know what? All right, these people really tried to do this to me. I got to change it. Yeah,
like, are you going to have your own hand in your own demise just because you decide that you're too lazy to do something different, or too scared to live without that?
Thank
you.
Yeah.
Because like smoking was a major crush for me. Like I did it with kind of like everything. And if I couldn't do it for a certain amount of time, I would think about it. This is how addictions go. Like it's very similar, when you break it down. Absolutely. And destructive.
Yeah.
And you're not in control. There's these things that are put in that you start using and you cannot stop because there is a payoff. It's doing something and it's helping in some way. It's doing something to you. But once you realize that it's unhealthy and destructive and abusive and manipulative and a time suck and keeping you from your own creativity.
Absolutely.
Great. It's, there's certain things in games, let's say that, it's creative and it's creational and this and that, but really when you break it down, like how is that doing anything really good in the world?
It's not.
Is it doing anything really good in the world? Is it putting anything out positive in the world? That's what you should be your checks and balances as far as what you're creating.
Absolutely.
You could be like, oh, I'm creating all this wonderful stuff, and it's like, but is it really?
The game. But you know what? But when you step back and look, if the TV screen was never there, there is nothing.
Yeah.
You have created nothing. Yeah. All you've done is move your fingers all day long.
Yeah.
On a controller, but you've literally done nothing.
Oh, let's not forget. Let's talk about your elbows. He has issues with his elbows because of gaming and being in that position.
Well,
and I think it's energy too, because I helped him with that as well. We kind of forgot about that.
Yeah, that's true.
He was like, my elbows are absolutely killing me, and this is something that's been happening for a long time. And immediately, again, energy goes back to everything. And I was like, all right, let's take care of this.
Right.
Which helped, right?
It did. Yeah.
Energy building up in that, because our joints, like I've told people before, your joints really trap a lot of energy. This is why a lot of people with fibro have a lot of joint pain. It's because the energy really gets trapped, not only in the fibers and in the muscles, but in joints.
Right.
So he had that problem, and I really do think it's like literally filtering in the negative energy, as well as the position of your body and what you're doing with your with your hands and stuff.
It started a lot when I was swimming. My swimming, it really started, but the games, when I would sit there and play games, like I'd have my hands like this and my elbows were bent all the time, and I could just feel how utterly painful like it would start to get. Or even like with my phone, I'd be sitting there with my phone, like having my elbow like this, looking at my phone or playing it, and my elbows would kill me. It's not happening so often as it used to, but if I do any sort of like push-ups or bench press, they'll get way painful. And then if I start playing games like that after it, it's a nightmare. I don't know what has happened to my elbows. The only thing I can think of is it's the energy.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't know what it could be.
Yeah, it is, because and then when I did just that little like clearing and healing on you just for your, and it was really bad, your one elbow.
I was over here one time, we were just hanging out, and my elbow was just acting up. Like there are some times when right now it's fine, but there are some times when it'll just act up for no reason, really painful, and it was just going off, and she helped me clear it up, and it was feeling much better afterwards. But it's still pretty strong. It was still slightly there, but it was
like
definitely
after,
but
like
it was
when you get a bruise.
But I'm telling you, my hand was going numb. My whole arm was starting to go numb.
And as soon as I touched him, I had this shot of pain in my hand, and I was like, "Holy shit, that is really intense!" And and then we cleared it and stuff, so it was much better after that. But so definitely that that energy does get trapped, and it'll also act up like, oh, what are you doing? You're doing some kind of physical activity. Let's act up when you're doing some kind of physical activity.
Yeah, well, no pain, no gain, I guess.
Seriously. And and then with your back, that was super intense.
Yeah, I got weird back problems.
And so, but we cleared that up like big time. It was really just being like,
I'm telling you, that was blocked. The most incredible thing. Like I felt nothing. Like all day I was just aching all day, and right after it, I felt literally nothing. I was like trying to bend around and see if I can activate it. I'm like, oh my goodness, I actually feel nothing.
Yeah, he's like, wait a second, it's totally gone. And I'm like, yeah, it's gone. As we were doing this, release and receive, remember I was like, just focus on the energy. And like, as we were, I was, working on it, and then we laid him down. That was a lot easier. We just kind of took our time with it, right? We just took our time with it. We were getting messages at the same time, and, just clearing out your body completely and starting at the, was weird.
Nice to cat.
I know, he got like spooked or something. But yeah, I was like, okay, I think we're done now. And he stood up and he's like, this is incredible. I don't feel any pain at all. And
I was blown away.
He was having a hard time just standing still, like he was bending and turning and moving and legs ahead. And he was, and I felt bad because I was kind of like going on and on and on about something for way too long. And I'm like, I'm so sorry, I'm making you wait. So because I saw him out in the street, and he told me, like, I learned about his back, and I was like, meet me at home.
Yeah.
I go, meet me at home and I'll take care of it. Because immediately I knew it was his root chakra. He's getting activated, and he's just, like you shake up a champagne bottle and you keep the cork on. That's gotta hurt. And it felt like he had a huge, like a huge nail just hammered in there.
Yeah, I know.
Super pressure, major pressure, causing all sorts of
happens
massive
really
pain.
Often. Like I get really crazy lower back pain all the time.
But that's low vibe energy. That's where it goes. You know? I guarantee you stop gaming and
like today was just, I'll be honest, it really wasn't a great day, and my back is killing me right now.
There you go. Negative energy will pull in the lower chakra, the root and the sacral, and that addiction energy. That's where that sits. The addiction energy sits in the root chakra, and anything that's like vibrationally like low, that's feeds there. So addictions, like if you like alcohol or money or gambling or sex or any of those types of addictions, that type of energy just really sits in those lower.
It reminds me of my mom, because my mom has a lot of lower back pain and she's super addicted to prescription pills. You know.
Yeah.
So that kind of does remind me
those
of that.
And you know, it just really is a chain of like a
those
chain
pills. I mean, I'm telling you, you get attacked from everywhere. Even the pills, man. They're super addictive. I mean, they're opioids. They're practically heroin. That's what my mom got hooked on.
Did you guys see how the CEO of one of the distributors for Oxycontin got arrested?
Really?
Under the same type of charges as like any other drug kingpin?
Yeah, you know, I'm serious. A lot of these drugs, they mask your issues.
I'm like,
they mask.
My God, how progressive of the DEA.
Yeah, they mask your pain, but in reality, they're just another drug. You know.
Well, yeah, they're a drug, but
they're labeled as good for you.
Well, you know, the oxycodone or cotton or the Oxycontin, this distributor was sending like enough for like 1 million doses to like a town that has 10,000 people.
Yeah.
And there's no like, they're like, fuck it, they're buying it, let's sell it. Like they were making, this guy was getting like bonuses of like millions of dollars. His bonuses were the CEO, the guy that got literally arrested the other day for not following protocols, for not having checks and balances, for not literally giving a fuck that people were so addicted that they were ordering mass amounts, that people were coming from out of state to different states to pick up their cook. Yes. And they're like, whatever, send it.
But you see, those type of people really exist, and those type of people have a lot of money and a lot of power. And it's just like they're so powerful, you know. That's what they do. They try and hook the entire nation, because that's big money. That's big business. It's disgusting. I mean, like it's in the games. Even the games, you know, there's rich evil people at the top of games, at the top of prescription pills, at the top of social media, even at the top of your phones, your computers. I mean, they're literally at the top of everything. There's even evil rich people who control all the money in the entire world. I mean, they're super evil, and they do the most, and they literally don't care about the population. They view people as numbers, or just below you. They view you as animals.
You're a negative energy food source, and a money and the whole like money thing is just a joke. And they make the money system. They've always
they've created the money system. Yeah. I mean, that's the whole funny thing about it.
It's just like the most ridiculous thing.
The reason why they're in control of it is because they literally created it. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of funny, like the Federal Reserve, central banks, those are the most evil things on the entire planet. They literally fund wars, because wars create so much revenue. So much. Like World War I, World War II, the Civil War, all of it. All was made up to create a bunch of money. Yeah. Literally, because there are a few people that benefit off of total and complete annihilation.
This is why they do a lot of this geoengineering with weather, because the destruction actually produces a lot of revenue.
Yeah, because what they do is once the whole land is destroyed, they go in and buy up everything. So now they own more shit.
Well, they do that
too. And that's how they keep up. That's how they keep getting richer and richer.
Well, that's the insurance thing. Like you think that like, the insurance. Okay, so what happens when a massive hurricane hits and everything gets blown to shit? It needs to get rebuilt. Who pays for that? Well,
Yeah.
it comes from insurance. And how does it, you know what I mean? So the insurance companies are actually benefiting. It seems like, oh, the insurance company have to pay out, but the insurance companies are actually benefiting because there's there's this cycle.
It's an evil cycle.
It's a cycle of it. And so this is also why people build homes in places where they absolutely should not, like right on the coast that gets, you know, taken and out like all the time, or you know what I mean, places that, you know, just should not have.
But yeah, I mean, like
stuff.
You know, but the biggest thing that they love is war, because they love watching. You know, that's what they want. You know, that's why games are so addicting. That's why drugs are so addicting. That's why everything is so addicting, is because they want everybody to be, you know, below them. They want everybody to be dumbed down, and they want everybody to be addicted and in mind paralysis. And then what happens is then they start up a big war. You have no idea why the war started because you're in such mind paralysis.
Well, it's bullshit. It's like false flag stuff anyway. Just like, you know,
it's all set up.
Look at Afghanistan 20 years later. We've been at war so long that there's people who are like, you know, acting like we haven't had a war in forever. And it's like, we have not been out of war in decades. Like, what are you talking about? Like, somebody was talking about that the other day. Sky is also 18, and he lives in Wisconsin, specifically for chemtrailing. People have patents on the methods of spraying and geoengineering and make money every time they do it.
Oh yeah, I'm telling you,
but it doesn't exist. It's not really a thing.
The most evil
government totally denies it. If you look up chemtrails, Google automatically changes it to trail.
Oh yeah,
to natural trails
that's the funny thing too. Is
you guys ever tried that? You ever tried to Google chemtrails?
That's so funny because they own Google too.
Fucking hilarious.
They buy off Google to I mean, they buy off Google, they buy off YouTube, they censor everything.
Oh my god.
That's why, you know,
I am so censored.
That's why stuff like people like INFINITI.
I'm so censored.
Like people like INFINITI who really know stuff, you know, is just so censored because they don't want you to know anything. They want everybody to be in mind paralysis. That is why that's why everything's so addicting. That's why games, they just throw everything at you. They throw the book at you.
It actually came up. Chemtrail conspiracy theory. That's the first time that's ever happened.
That is
look at
surprising. Okay.
Look at the pictures.
I've never heard of this. And yeah.
Look at the pictures. Those are chemtrails. That's when the government planes are dropping. So it's geoengineering. So what they do is they drop not only all sorts of chemicals and stuff, but when it comes to weather control, they drop a lot of little teeny tiny itty bitty particles of aluminum, which is highly refractive and reflective. And so when they drop this into the atmosphere, your weather will go from like 70 to like 40. Because they've been dropping all of this, all the chemtrail stuff into the atmosphere, creating more clouds, more moisture, and then you know what I'm saying? They also do it at very specific times, like depending on what's going on with the air, so it'll be even worse. So a lot of this like really extreme weather that has been going on is not natural at all. It's totally man-made.
Yeah, and you know, that's actually kind of crazy now that we've kind of switched into this topic, but you know, like the chemtrails, they also have another thing where Wi-Fi. There's a certain
population control.
There's a certain thing of Wi-Fi, like 5G. There's a certain wave of 5G.
5G is scary shit, people, and it should be fought.
It actually, there's a certain wave of 5G that when you are exposed for such long periods of time, you literally become like a zombie.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna tell you something that's gonna be crazy. Do you ever see all those giant poles for like, you know, they're Wi-Fi blocks, you know, all these different poles all everywhere. They're everywhere. You go out, like you see like the fake trees and all that, they're big giant Wi-Fi poles.
They use it for
big and thick.
Frequency pulses to put out.
Frequency pulses. There are frequencies that will literally manipulate and make you go crazy or turn you into a zombie. And so here, get this. There's this zombie deer disease. Yeah, this is what they do a lot of the times. they put a lot of diseases through animals and blame it on the animals for making this big giant disease like the Black Plague. Like it came from an animal or or some type of thing, and that's the excuse, right? Well, the zombie deer disease, they're gonna say, oh well, the zombie deer disease could transfer to humans, or like even in the ants. The ants have that fungus that turns them into a zombie. Well, they're gonna blame that. And when the 5G turns everybody into a mindless like zombie, the frequency, then they just blame it on the zombie deer disease. Boom, right there. That is exactly what they do.
They're trying a lot of things. They're also like right now with the measles vaccine, they're putting they're really trying. And I asked people about this the other day because information came to me where because I've been getting more cut than I normally do, just like the cat scratches or just random shit, And I got this information yesterday that, okay, so how we have pheromones just in our bodies, and that creates reactions with other people.
Right.
Well, when we cut ourselves, that's also releasing an energy, a frequency signature into the atmosphere that is contained in your body when you're not cut, right? Because your blood is contained, and then you get cut, and then your blood is now not contained anymore. And so when that happens, it's sending out this like little light pulse, this little frequency thing to kind of like all of everything, and in kind of the same way that that like our pheromones do all of the time. But in terms of in the for the sole purpose of us as light bodies just kind of emitting this pulse out with our blood. And I know it sounds really crazy.
That's very true.
I know it sounds really, really crazy, but it's actually a thing where we're just kind of like accidentally synchronous in a synchronous way. It could be, by a cat or whatever. It could be just the slightest little things. Like normally I don't either hurt myself or cut myself as much, but I've been noticing that. And I'm like, what is going on with that? And so that information came to me yesterday. So I posed a question to a few people, like, have you been getting more cut lately? Has anything happened where this is, gone on? I'm just curious. And especially for the men, because they're not on schedule to bleed all the time like us females are.
Oh, yeah, that's
but it's true.
Definitely not.
So it's like especially curious for the males, but it's basically like kind of sending a pulse of like light and frequency out to the people that we're supposed to be around. And it's just kind of it's kind of emitting that at the same time. So what I was wanting to tell or talk to him about was before it was like, okay, your back is acting up, all of this energy is coming up. We know that we've been going through these super intense portals and stuff. In the meditation that I did the other day in channeling with Jesus, he talked a long time about what's happening, what's coming up in this time period. So I think people may be having an extra hard time with things that may be keeping them from connecting more. So
Yeah,
you know what I'm
definitely.
saying? It's the fight of like the light and the dark, basically. And if you are aware of that, it'll help fight that.
Yeah, I believe that because,
'Cause-
we're definitely entering a time in which the light is going to start taking back, they're going to
We're
start
just
taking
getting in the know.
back.
We're just getting in the know, I mean, you know what I mean? Like we are getting in the know to a point where you can't, you're either going to stick your head in the sand and be like, I don't care what's actually going on.
Yeah,
I'm
there's
going to
people
live.
like that.
And, because actually waking up takes getting out of bed and doing shit.
That's very true. Very true.
So a lot of people just don't want to deal with any of it. And so, but for those of us who once we know, we can't turn away from what we know. We know what we know.
Yeah, that is so true. Because You know, for me, when I was younger,
there's no choice.
you know, your mind is like in a prison at first. You know,
That's a good way.
You know, yeah,
I felt like I was living in a prison most of my life.
You're indoctrinated to believe that life's a certain way.
And I was indoctrinated to believe that I was going to be sick my whole life.
Yeah, exactly.
I believed that until my own spirit tribe came and took me into a like when I was in meditation and told me differently about my own body and my own energy. I totally believed that my circumstances were never going to change, not in this lifetime. And that's why I wanted to die so early. But even that wasn't real.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
That was in my body. It was real to a point where, because I didn't know how to break free. I didn't know how to break out of the chains of the bullshit of me not understanding how to work it, because they're not going to tell me this is how you work yourself. Because that would just be a detriment to you know, the whole plan of keeping me down, you know, and all of us down. So that's why, like, it's this big secret how really the reality is that we can transmute energy. We can get, you know, go from feeling miserable and in pain to feeling no pain within moments.
I've never known that. Never. That's the thing.
Most people don't know
they
that.
really don't want you to know how to do that. And, you know, because
it's just too easy. It sounds crazy. I'm like in this comment war with this person, with these people on this other YouTube channel, because this guy is just talking up one, down, and down another about how psychics and anybody that's a psychic is crazy and that, you know, isn't real, and people that believe in certain things. That,
well, think about it.
He just goes on and on. He's a comedian, actually. He goes on and on and on and on and on. On.
You know what?
And some of it is funny, but I'm like, he's just so close-minded. He's basically saying that, like, none of this is, you know, any kind of psychic anything is such utter rubbish and bullshit.
And you know, you have to put yourself in his shoes. You got to understand why he thinks that.
Sure.
And it's because he's been totally indoctrinated. You know, to believe that does not work. You know, but that's the part of life that he doesn't understand. He's never looked into it that much, I bet. And, you know, that's the thing.
No, of course not. Because it has, or people don't even know about it. Just don't even know about it. Period, the end. And so I wrote a comment saying, like, you know, wow, this is funny in some parts, but, you know, he should really educate himself on, you know, this, because his whole like bit was, if somebody, this is like really fucking hilarious too, because his whole like end of his bit was kind of like, if anybody could prove to me that any of that is actually like real and effective, I will like carve some. Talking about carving on his cock something. He's like,
God.
Yeah, he's like, I will carve on the side of my cock the blah, 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 blah. And I was like, holy shit, man. So like my comment was, you know, I could prove this to him, but I definitely don't want to see the cock.
Wow.
And I'm like, he should really, before he goes off in this way, he should really educate himself, because, you know, psychic abilities and energy work and distance energy healing has been proven at this point. You can just do a few very simple Google searches. People are going to classes in schools all the time to learn how to do Reiki. And so, but a lot of people just don't even know that exists. Like, you know what I mean?
Okay.
It just don't have any idea that exists.
Here's another thing too. They may know it exists, but here's the thing. The people that know it exists, that don't want you to know it exists, intentionally put fake psychics out there to totally destroy the reputation. To destroy the reputation.
Yeah. Well, you know? and the thing is too, is like, so then my response to people is, because I say, you know, I can do distance healing. This is what I do. And then they come back with going, oh, well, the power of suggestion is a really big thing. Right. You can, you know, so it's like there's a rebuttal for, like, you know, even if you say this is a thing, this is proven. Like my thing with psychics is, you know, it's really hilarious to me how people will totally say anything psychic is totally discredited. But at the same time, pretty much every single government agency has employed psychics in their programs.
Oh yeah, in fact, the you know, a lot of governments do mind controlling and psychological tests and manipulations and that's
There's
what they do, like MK Ultra.
Yeah,
I don't know if you ever heard of that.
And there's definite psychic warfare going on.
Oh, yeah.
On different levels. I picked up on it in sports,
Really?
professional sports. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, you said you loved baseball, right?
Mm-hmm. I used to be really into baseball, and I started picking up on, and this is something I could never prove it, but teams will employ psychics to psychically fuck with players on the other teams.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Like a pitcher pitching extraordinarily badly, a hitter not being able to get his timing right.
Well, you want know
different things like stuff that's like really a closer, just sucking ass.
I heard
and psychic warfare.
I heard that
real
that
shit.
Actually, like the
And I started picking up on it, and I was like, "Oh, dude, I can't even hang with this. I can't watch baseball because I'm feeling this. I could totally feel it happening, like in real time. Like, and the players are like, what is happening right now? They can't do anything right. It's because there's a team of psychics sitting in a room just fucking with that person."
And I heard something really crazy too that this reminds me of.
Some of this.
The recent Super Bowl that was just won with the Patriots versus the what was it? It was some I forgot the team, but it was just like a really boring game. Nobody really scored. The Patriots barely won. Well, I'm actually a Patriots fan, but the thing is though is I heard that the reason why they won is because Tom Brady's wife was doing some psychic, actually, but more of a demonic, what I heard was more of like a demonic ritual to kind of get them to ensure the win of the game.
Yeah, it doesn't take a whole lot to mess with
that's what it reminds me of.
Yeah, it doesn't take a whole lot to really because, when people, you could Google psychic attack, and it really thinking shitty thoughts about a person and having real emotions behind it and energy into that, like really thinking back. Like, I can't imagine the energy surrounding Donald Trump, to be honest with you.
Oh my God.
I think about that man. Not that I'm a fan. Not that I'm a fan, but I think about it, the energy coming at him, and I'm just like,
everybody attacks him on every single level.
But that's psychic attack. And so when you get a group of highly capable, I guess is a good word, highly capable psychics who can really do some energy throwing around, that can, even if there isn't an actual like covert kind of thing going on with like people really on purpose attacking. If you've ever watched a tennis match where one person has the crowd and the other person doesn't, the energy of the crowd, like the home team, there's something to really be said about the home team.
Very true. They always win when they're at home. Usually, you have
a better chance of winning when you're at home. Why? Why is that? Is it because you're playing on your grass? No, you're not. It's not because you're playing on your grass. It can be your home team that you're playing in a different stadium. But if there's more of your people there that are, it doesn't matter the physicality of the place. It's the energy of the people around you and surrounding you.
Yeah, the people really have to. The people going to their home, stadium have to really mentally block out the psychic attack if they want to try and win on someone else's home ground, Right.
Yeah, because it's harder. There's more people there. There's more energy there. There's
most of the people there are supporting the home team.
There's more support for the home team always. And so if you see that in an individual sport, it's even more intense because there'll be one person that's getting all the love and one person that's getting all the hate, and you can I can feel it. Like I did this thing where I was like, man, I realized years ago I could just work with professional athletes, and there's times when they have certain issues with certain stuff. Like all of a sudden their serve is off. All of a sudden, I used to be into tennis. All of a sudden, like these different things are going on with them, and they're like having a hard time. And I was like, damn, I could work with these like professional athletes, because I'm watching on TV, I know exactly what the problem is. Sometimes it is psychic attack, sometimes it's where they're playing, but they could shield themselves on that. They can clear themselves energetically so they're not so susceptible to this. But they're going out there basically naked and oblivious and ignorant, not having a clue what's actually happening, regardless of all the training that they've done. They're stepping into the game like, ugh.
It's a mental, because their brain knows how to play the sport. It's all in their head. It's the mental attack that they get that puts them down, or it really is all in their head. Like here's I'll tell you something. When I used to be on the swim team, I knew how to swim really well. I knew I could swim really fast. But right when I was on the block to go swim, every time before the meet, every time I'd go to swim, I would always be thinking all these different, bad things, like, oh, I'm not going to beat this guy, or this guy's really fast, a lot faster than me. And you
just get negative.
I basically make myself slower because I'm so anxious and nervous that it screws me over the entire time. But that's the thing. You have to mentally block that out. It's hard though.
You've weighed yourself down.
Yeah, exactly. I literally weighed myself down, and I usually came in, like here, I'll tell you something. This one meet where like I thought that, like I had no chance. No. I didn't think about it. I had a chance or not. I'm just like, oh, this is my first time doing butterfly. And I wrecked my previous time. And then like I was like, holy cow, I just got that. And then the next time I went to go do it, I'm like thinking about the time that I have to beat. And then that weighed me down because I'm like, oh, I don't know if I can beat that time again. I'm like, there's a lot of pressure.
Whereas the first time he was oblivious. So
I was oblivious to like how good I was doing. And then like now I'm like, oh, now I have to do good. And now it weighed me down. I screwed myself over.
And that's the energy that you're cycling through your body. That's how powerful it is. It's really amazing.
I know, it really is.
It truly is amazing. Like when
your mind is so powerful.
It's your mind controlling your energy. That's what you have to understand. Do you know what I mean? It's you connecting the it's like when you plug into the wall. You can have the energy in the wall, and you can have your cord right here, but until you connect them, are you going to get any light? And once you understand that you are in control of where the energy goes and what you're focused on, and that you can control it, you can transmute it from your body. Anything that's any kind of energy that's creating a dissonance in the body can be, whether it's an addiction, because I do energy clearing and healing and the whole like full shebang for addictions too, because it's because it's an energy. It's an attachment of energy that needs to go. When that attachment of energy is gone, there's nothing pushing at the buttons. Then it's you going, what do I do now? Yeah. So you can open up the door to any other thing that you do now, or you can go back to your addiction because it's just right there on the other side of that door. True. So it's up to you. So we can push that.
It's a door you're common with.
Yeah.
It's like
so it takes you going, no, that's a whole thing. So any kind of, again, dissonance in the body. So whether somebody says they're coming to me and they have, let's say, diabetes, or they have, some kind of kidney thing, or they have whatever, and they have an addiction, we're really treating it very much those two things the same way, because they're both causing reactions in the physical body and in the energetic body, and they're both just taking up space, doing things that they should not be doing. So once you eliminate that, untangle it, eliminate out, and then get a flow going in there, and then as the person, keep in control of keeping your energy a certain way, there's no reason for that to come back.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
It's the same thing with like people who are having issues with food and, wanting to eat better and stuff. We kind of eliminate those attachments to the addictive foods, to the foods that are not good for you, or like the meats and stuff, if that's where you're at. And it really helps to not consume, because it's about consumption. what you're consuming in your mouth and you're putting in your body is
Sure.
food, and what you're consuming in your you know, whether it's video games or anything else.
Yeah, you're consuming.
You know, some people are, you know, their addictions are sports. It's sports all day, every day. And if they're not watching sports or listening about sports or watching a sports, you know, channel, they're gambling about sports. I mean, there's one sport after another sport, and then it's the competition and being, you know, so there's like same thing.
Yeah, I've seen a person who was addicted to exercising. She was so addicted to exercising that she almost like was like whittling her body away because she had nothing on her because she would just exercise all day long.
No, we could talk about that. What? Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, because you know she had a bad thing in the past, you know, that she was trying to forget about, and so like, you know, she would just exercise all day long. She almost whittled herself away. I was like, wow, someone addicted to exercise.
Yeah,
that's pretty rare.
Yeah, you can get it because that's adrenaline. That's dopamine.
That's true. That's true.
Totally changes your body chemistry.
That's actually very true. The adrenaline, yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's like the runner's
That's why there's adrenaline junkies.
Oh yeah,
same thing.
Absolutely. Like anything that's gonna, you know, like push it, and people get addicted to that too.
That's very true.
Yeah. Okay. So Soulful Love said, yeah. Okay. So it said, yes, good and positive vibes will always be more powerful. What do you guys think about reptilians and shape shifting? It creeps me the fuck out. And then they said, my bad, off topic. No, it's totally cool. So
reptilians and shape shifting.
So reptilians are a sub race of humans, and they do exist. They work and feed off of the negative energy of regular humans, and they don't have like the normal like emotions and consciousness that like a regular person has. And a lot of humans have the reptilian mind. If you look at the physiologic aspects of humans, there's that correlation, but there is a difference. However, the way that humans are designed, they can be messed with in so many ways, right? Like we've been talking about. So this is what a lot of reptilians do, and they like to not be known. And they're part of the like the powers that be, the people that control stuff, because they can and they have, and they've manipulated stuff for a long time. But that's also why we're here to fight all that.
Right.
And I've dealt with them personally myself, and what to say? I mean, succubus as well, succubi. Ooh, I just saw 2 4 4 4 4 4. Bunch of fours.
You know, my belief on the reptilian and shapeshifting, I believe that shapeshifting does exist, but for like more demonic powers. And the reptilians, I believe that if they did exist, they're at the very top of the food chain, and they're the ones that are like pulling the strings of all the puppets. Because, you know, they're some of the most powerful, almost demonic creatures. And, you know, in a way too, DNA is very easily manipulated. DNA is it's been studied by some of the most highly intelligently evil people, and they do know how to manipulate DNA to literally do some very crazy things. You know, I mean, back in the days when, you know, what I believe is
there's like pig humans, and
exactly,
all
like
sorts of
all the Egyptian
subhumans. There's things that they can do to splice and dice the human being that make non-human things that then they go and fuck with that.
Exactly. And you know, like the Egyptian gods, like the Norse gods and the Egyptian gods and the Greek gods all came because people at that time saw something in their own way. Okay. Or you know, that's how they came to believe things. And you know, the Egyptian gods, they're really unique. You know, they're half animal, half human. And during that time, you know, DNA was
well, they manipulated the human DNA.
They manipulated it.
They changed what humans were.
And people
we've never
could be
changed
half
since.
human, half thing, and they would look at them as like gods.
And we never, but since then, since like this human, now is the first time that we're actually evolving, doing that whole like crystalline thing, because that like junk DNA, those whole strands of 22, those have been dormant and not doing anything, completely unactivated, but they're there and they've been there for a long time. So there was this like jump in evolution with humans where they were much more that like caveman, Cro-Magnon, type, not super, evolved and intelligent, just more simple. And then the visitors came, and then they started splicing and dicing and changing things, because they literally came to take from this planet and found what they found here. And so they changed the course of history a long time ago of like really like what humans were. And ever since then, the divine beings that have been with and around Gaia had to come up with a way to fight that. And so that's when we started incarnating and putting into play our own group, generations of light beings that are related but don't know it, and to get to this point. So this is why when we're here now, they're fighting so hard to keep us from doing what we have been putting into play for so long. This is not a new thing for the light bodies to just be here at this time. We've been coming and putting into play a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff is there's a lot of messages and codes and things in text and things in art and images and things that we're meant to reveal and uncover as light bodies as we awaken and go forward. There's things that we put in play generations ago. There's things that are discoveries now that there's things about time frames and time periods that are completely off and whack. There's things about numbers that are completely totally jacked up. And I'll tell you, the biggest one is how many people are on this planet. There are not 9 billion people on this planet, or whatever the new dumb shit number is that they're putting out. There really isn't that many people on this planet. There's like maybe 2.5 billion or something like that. It's like way less. You have to think of all the destruction, maybe more than 2.5 billion, but it's nowhere near that 9, that like huge number that they're putting out there with like all the people. There's not that many people. A lot of the information that gets put out there about the numbers is complete bullshit, and people just don't know any better, and so they believe it. And so, there's like all of that. Because
it's not like anybody's going out counting how many people there are.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of true in a way. I mean, you can kind of document it through.
What about the demonic reptilians?
Now, actually, I gotta say, there is a huge demonic presence in the industry, in the music industry and the movie industry. Absolutely. Yeah. Most movies that you watch have, and music, a lot of music. Like there's this Katy Perry song. In fact, a couple of Katy Perry songs that literally sing about Satan and demonic, evil things. And you just like, and once you hear about that for like one time, you start to look at other songs and you start to realize the demonic, portion that is hidden behind good face. Like you said, they hide behind good face, and but really they're super demonic.
Yeah. And it's meant to put out a certain frequency and a certain evoke a certain emotion and to put out certain visuals, to just create. That's what it's all about. But on the flip side of that, like I said, we've been working, the light side have been working. So we're working on the other side. We're working on incarnate. We've been working for a very long time. So while there is negative stuff that's put in music and TV and all that, there's also
absolutely.
There's also a lot of messages from the divine about how things are really like how things work and how powerful we really are. And I'm not talking about like Christian music. I'm talking about like pop culture music with like from top to bottom lyrics about serious like messages that are the flip side.
Music is hypnotizing. It actually is hypnotizing and subliminally gets you thinking about different things that you really don't think about, but subliminally your mind starts to think about it. Like think about this new age of like this like rap. You know, there could be good rap, but then you look at the rap that everybody like craves over. It's like this putting down women, doing drugs and partying every day. You know, there's
and
this
gangbanging.
Yeah, and gangbanging, killing and all that, drugs.
Yeah, it's very negative.
You know, there's this guy named 69. Have you ever heard of this guy? This guy's named 69. He's got like 500 million views on this one video. And this one video, throughout the entire video, shows symbolism of blood sacrifice, of child sex slaves.
Oh my God.
You know, I mean, literally, like this is what they do. The higher up echelons, evil people, sacrifice and kill babies. They drink their adrenaline blood because they feel like it makes them live longer. And throughout the entire video, it's talking about child sex sacrifice. You know, not in the video, they're not singing about it, but everything about it. And like there's even this giant demon mouth that they walk into, and the checkerboard pattern on the floor means blood sacrifice. It means they've sold their soul.
That's pretty overt.
I'm telling you, like this whole video about this 69 guy, they all love that stuff because that's what they're into. They love the power of killing little kids. I mean, they literally get off to this stuff. It's horrific.
Well, that's part of the whole,
that's one of the most
thing.
It's one of the most horrific things, but the biggest tragedy is the sex trafficking in the world. And you don't hear about it ever because it's so well hidden. But you're going to see it starting to come out a lot more.
You know, it's so wonderful.
It's
like, oh, that doesn't happen. People think it doesn't happen in America. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. There is so much abduction and sex trafficking. It is slavery.
Yeah. I mean, here's what they do.
They found people all over this nation of people that are being held against their will in homes.
Oh, and it doesn't. And I'll tell you,
they all
it gets even worse.
Protect each other.
It gets even worse. What happens is when they have war and all that, all the foster kids that you know don't have parents and all that, and once the whole land's been decimated and war has been taken over, the foster kids, what they do is they go in there and swoop up the foster kids and use those kids as the sacrifices. They use them as the child sex slaves. Because you know what? They're foster kids. Nobody knows about them. They're off the record. And so, yeah, it's just disgusting. I mean, you know, tragedies like, you know, hurricanes and all that, you know, once, you know, the land has been decimated and, you know, people are trying to, you know, find their belongings and all that, all these foster kids, they go in there and soup them all up. There's an organization that literally does this. It's an organization that hides behind good face that says they go in and help the foster kids, but they're really going in and taking them for sacrifices. It's absolutely disgusting.
Yeah, there's a lot of missing people, missing women and children.
Hollywood, and the music industry.
Well, males don't get talked about a lot in this, but
but they're big victims.
There's a lot of
they're
boys.
Huge victims.
I mean, like in Congress, they're just like literally just talking about females, and I'm like, what? They're not mentioning males at all in this. When they're talking about sex.
You know, look at that one guy. What's his name? Joe Biden. Look at what he does. How he gropes little kids, and how he literally like gropes women, and like. There's a whole video of like where he's sitting there trying to kiss this little girl, like a little 12-year-old girl.
I don't honestly.
I mean, that's just disgusting.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't think I've always liked Joe Biden. I've never felt like he's a predator. I've always felt like
watch those
people
videos,
might think I'm too touchy feely too. Like
Yeah, but it's different when he's like all over you.
But I have seen, but you know what? But even the people that have come out against it have said, but not in a sexual way, just in an inappropriate way, like you're invading my space, but I don't think you're trying to molest me. I think that but you can see that they're uncomfortable. The problem is with Joe is that his desire to make people feel a certain way overshadowed how they were actually feeling and him paying attention to it.
I'll just say
you've seen people like that, right? They're like, I want to make you feel so good, and you're like, ah, it's like Pussyfoot and the
I know that,
and the you know what I mean, where the cat's like, get away from me, and he's like,
I know
but I love
a
you.
little bit different views on this, but I think that Joe Biden's a total creep. That's just my view. We may have different views, but hey, that is what it is.
No, that's fine. I mean, I'm not into really any politician. I think that,
all of politics is it's all satanic as well.
There really aren't any great choices, but there are some better choices than other choices if you're gonna make choices, I guess.
But the problem is if you give anybody that kind of power. If you give anybody that kind of power and politicians, it gets to their head and they'll start to abuse it. Anybody. You even give cops the power. They always abuse it. Here's
the thing that kind of gets to be a wash, especially when it comes to American politics. We've already talked about the Federal Reserve.
Oh, yeah.
That comes from the United States. It is controlled by the upper echelons of power and also, like we've mentioned, the reptilians and et cetera, right? And so what happens is really it doesn't matter once you get into the government offices of high up, like presidents who really are not anywhere nearly as in control as people think they are.
No, they're all puppets.
Just another face, but what's important is which puppets do you want to be the puppeteers to have control of, you know what I mean?
But that's the thing.
They are all puppets.
We assume that this system is the right way, but the thing is if you give anyone that kind of power, it will get to their head.
Yeah, but it's also it's false power. So,
in a way, at the same time,
there's a lot of other mechanisms at play when it comes to politics and all that why
politics
things happen.
Are disgusting.
And it's not even it goes so far up and above that as far as what is in control, what isn't in control, what's happening, when things are happening. I mean it really goes pretty deep. But it is good to I guess. You ever seen that cartoon, the art where they show you like Democrats and Republicans, like, and then like they're going through a thing, but then like across the wall it's all the same thing on the other side.
You're right. It is all the same thing.
It's the perfect cartoon of exactly what it is. It's like, does it really matter? Because on the other side of that wall, what we don't see on this side, when you think I'm voting for so-and-so,
it doesn't
on the other
matter,
side, whoever gets there anyway is going to need to be controlled.
Yeah, they have to. Like, here, I'll tell you something. My accountant.
So you want to put in the people who have the least amount of nasty skeletons in their
it doesn't
closet.
matter. Trust me.
But it matters to an extent. It matters to an extent.
But yeah,
that's why you don't
here's
vote,
the thing. My accountant, who was the mayor of like some city down by Long Beach, I forget what it is, Los Alamitos or something like that. He was the mayor of it, right? Well, he wanted to go to state, right? But he wanted to be like a state, senator or something like that. He wanted to get to, be, after mayor, he wants to get up into like the politicians of, state, right? Well, he realized he can't do that without selling his soul. Literally, he couldn't get to that point unless he sold his soul. Literally. So, it's just disgusting. All of politics is absolutely rigged, and they're all puppets, and they sell their soul to get to that point, because it's the easiest and fastest way for a person to make money is to get into politics. Because that's why people fight so hard to get into politics, is because they know they're going to make a lot of money by the people controlling them. It is what it is. And it really is a problem, because the people up there get so when you get to be that high up, you really believe that the people around you are not worth anything. When you're a politician, you believe people as votes rather than people. You get to that point where you're like, the only reason why I'm here is because I need votes, not people's. They don't care about the people. They just want the votes to stay in power. And so these poor innocent people are voting all these people into power that these innocent people have no idea that it's like a herder feeding his sheep. The herder is feeding the sheep the sheep are the people, and eventually the herder will lead them to the slaughterhouse. The sheep love the herder because he's getting he's feeding them, but at the end of the day, the sheep get led to the slaughterhouse. Yeah,
because the sheep need them to survive, and the real lesson.
Well, they think they do, because sheep could be in
right. But here's the thing: we as individuals, especially as enlightened and getting enlightened, waking up people, need to start constructing our own lives and communities a certain way where we have, that like outside control gets dismantled. It happens. It's not going to happen, overnight or in our lifetimes. It just isn't. But we're starting these things now. And that's why we can't just be like, oh, well, the world is fucked and there's all these people in control and there's nothing we can do about it, because it's not true. It is the reality. It's a harsh, ugly reality, but it doesn't mean that reality needs to remain the same for all of eternity. It means that we need to take a look at that. We need to see it for what it is. We need to understand that we've been lied to and brainwashed.
Everybody's been lied to.
And that about everything for so long. Number one, namely with ourselves and really what we are and how things work within our own bodies, and things just need to be blown out in ways where people start to really, not see so much of the stuff that is real as hocus pocus bullshit.
Right, that's so true.
And everything just needs to kind of flip. And once people start to take their power back, is when the infrastructure, everything will begin to collapse, because there's nothing there to hold it up, because people have taken their power back within themselves. They're not going to need that support from the shepherd or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
The herder, because
that's the thing.
They realize things.
It's so true.
They can do things differently. It's just we just haven't known any different.
The people are giving their power away. The public, the mass public, just give their power away. They give it away to just a few people.
We trust too much.
Yeah,
I did.
It really is.
I trusted too much. I didn't. I mean, I knew that there were certain foods that were bad for us just because they had fat or sugar, right?
Right.
But I didn't really understand that there is the industry of food is to put shit in it to make us sick, to make us
the food industry
addicted,
is totally corrupt.
To make us, fat, sick, addicted, to get us to have diabetes, to get us to get cancers, to get us, it starts with.
That's why cancer is such a big thing nowadays.
Well,
everybody's eating that food.
Well, yeah, and there's new illnesses that are coming out, and it just kind of perpetuates kind of all this stuff. Like I didn't really understand that there is this active assault on us.
Yeah, everybody.
Active assault on us.
From when you're born,
from when we're born to indoctrinate
You're
us
targeted.
into, we're targeted and we're indoctrinated into a society that dumbs us down into believing
Absolutely.
number one, we have control when the way things are, like we
Yeah,
don't think we're
that's
slaves.
the good
We
point.
don't think we're slaves, but we're really slaves. Like,
Yeah.
what's the best slave system to
Yeah.
make it
What's
so
the best slave system?
to make
You like capitalism, you like socialism, you like communism?
to make it so you think that you're actually not a slave. So
Yeah.
we're born into that. We get taught things about our health, about the world, and about how things work that are not true. And that's just what we know and what we believe. And I mean, think about it. If at some point all the information came out that Gaia was square, and every textbook and everything that we've ever seen was that Gaia was square.
Yeah.
And that's what we know about it,
Yeah,
that Gaia
that's true.
is square, and that's
Right.
anything we've ever seen in our existence.
Then you're going to believe it.
Gaia is square, and they built things in certain ways to show squareness, or they've cut things off in certain ways so we don't even know. We've seen these movies and these shows where people think they live in a reality that they don't actually live in because it's been presented to them a certain way.
You know, a good
quote, there you go.
A good quote that sums it all up is, a lie told long enough inevitably becomes the truth for everyone.
Yeah, because everybody believes the same thing. So it's like when I talk to a group of, or a room of people, or to a panel of people that, you know, when I say, hey, this guy is funny, but the stuff that he's saying that is crazy to believe in, a lot of it's been proven, and it would probably be worth his while to educate himself before he's saying these things.
Right.
And then of course I get, like, you know, attacked for
because
that.
He's buying into all the lies, and now it's become his truth.
And then perpetuating it to other, and making fun of the people who actually, like, the people who believe this stuff are insane.
That's true.
So then you're crazy for believing this stuff.
That's what they do.
And so it's kind of like, that's what needs to get flipped.
Oh my goodness. Is everything okay?
You guys?
Yeah. The cat's made a funky noise in the back.
Oh, my TV's burning.
Yeah, well, you know, it's a crazy system that we live in, and you know, people really need to expand their minds and understand what's really around them and what's really going on around them. See, that's the thing. You know, me playing games my whole life, time flies by so quickly that I'm not paying attention to what's going on around me. And that is what it's like for most of the public. It's either by games, drugs, alcohol, whatever it is. You know, that's the thing. They get you by addiction so that your time is so consumed that you're not realizing what's really going on around you. And that's what they want. They want you dumber so that so you don't see what's going on. And what's really going on behind the scenes is so evil and demonic. It's disgusting.
Yeah, and so like I say, it sucks to have to know these things.
Yeah, I know. When I started to find out about all this, you know, it really really made me depressed.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's better to be in the know instead of to be ignorant.
I would rather be in the know than bury my head in the sand. You know, I want to be prepared for this.
Because
you know?
how are we supposed to consciously, you know, fight things that are in play to keep us down if we're oblivious?
Yeah, exactly.
It's impossible. You're literally, like, the people are like, oh no. That's, you know, you're just like going, okay, well then they can just fuck with you all they want because you're saying they don't exist. This is what I tell people, you know, when people say, oh, and you're talking about like evil entities or parasites or this or that, and it sounds really, you know, whatever. It's like, well, don't you want to know of an infestation in your home as something that's taking over your life? Or would you rather be like, it's in the walls, I can't see it, it's cool. Yeah. Like, I'd rather not deal with all that nastiness. You know, it's like, no, you need to deal with the nastiness. You need to take care of the nastiness. You need to know the nastiness exists, so you're not sitting down in it. And that's, you know, kind of what needs to happen. It's like, no, you are in more control than you think.
Yes,
things
absolutely.
aren't as bad as that, just because that's been your perspective. Like,
yeah, that's true.
you know, and because there is so much good and so
there is a lot of
so
good.
much beauty.
There is.
And the good people, Dakota, the good people in the world, the light-filled people in the world, the people that love Gaia and love animals and want to help each other, way outnumber the evil people in the world. The problem is the balance of power, where a few hold the power and the many do not. So that's what's coming into, that's what's doing this.
I mean, look at so many other countries. You know, like, you know, most of the countries are in poverty. You know, like half the, it's like what, like 90% of the world lives on like $1 a day.
You know what's really crazy?
You know, it's just disgusting.
Is how much countries owe to each other, and the debts of, you know, that's like utter bullshit. The debts. Like the debts of what? A lot of that is war related anyway.
Oh yeah, it's because they're making so much money.
They're building horrible things for weapons of destruction that they employ each other for. It's really kind of ridiculous.
The biggest weapon of mass destruction is technology.
Oh my God.
It's video games. It's mind control. It's Wi-Fi. It all affects us in a way that you have no idea about. Like the games, like it's the big, think about it. Games are so addicting, and it can reach so many people on such a high level, more than like heroin would, because you know, certain people have to accept heroin. A lot of people accept games.
Nobody hands a syringe of heroin to a 5-year-old.
Yeah, exactly. Nobody does that. You know, but a game like phones, look, it has already affected so much of society. Look at how much people have changed in the past, I don't know, 20 years.
Oh my God.
I mean, like, you want to talk about a weapon of mass destruction, a weapon of mass psychological manipulation, technology, phones, games, etc. All of it right there. It's right there.
And it was under the guise of, let's get more connected. Right?
Yeah.
Let's get more connected, when really, truly, it's just
and see, that's what they do. They taint the most brilliant device on the planet is long distance communication. You know, your phone. They absolutely taint that, because you know you can't go anywhere without your phone. You know, a lot of people need to get in contact with with other people. You know, so it's like that's the perfect thing to taint is communication. You taint communication and it gets to everyone.
Well, and the same thing with weather control. So like if you control these things and the effects of them, you control the overall energy of people in general.
Sure.
And that's what they extrapolate from. And that's what, so we have to just, again, you know it, you recognize it, and you do things accordingly not to feed into it. And then where you can, you know, try to tell other people about it too, so they're aware. And, you know, some people are just going to think that is just absolute, utter craziness, all of it. Any of the stuff we've been talking about today.
Yeah, a lot of people will, but it's because their heads are seriously buried in the sand.
And so, you know, we just throw out seeds and we see what sticks. And if people are going to, like, my rebuttal to every single person on this video, and I knew I'm going to leave this comment and I know I'm going to incite some responses, but let's see what happens. Because I was enjoying his comedy, because I can laugh at you when people say, oh, this and that about certain things. It's like, whatever, you know?
Right.
But it was just, it got to a point where it was just too much. You know, it was just too much, and it was very negative. And, you know, he talks about also being, I'm a very open person. So if you're going to da-da-da-da-da, and I'll be, you know, and then he goes into this whole, like, I'll carve stuff into my dick kind of thing. And you're just like,
that's so
what?
Bizarre.
And so my comment was like, wow, there's some stuff here that's really funny, but a lot of this was very negative, very closed-minded, very judgmental.
Right.
And, you know, you may want to educate yourself and because a lot of this stuff has already been is a thing and has been a thing. And some people may not know of a thing, but it doesn't mean it's not a thing. And so, of course, you know, the rebuttals come back and about, you know, how it's fake and how it's not true. And, you know, the distance healing, of course, you know, people hear that and they're just like, oh, you are really insane. Because I could have had the exact same effect on you with your back, with your elbows, if you were at home in bed and I'm here, or I'm here and you're in Thailand. It doesn't matter. Wow. It doesn't matter, because energy is, you just tap in energetically and I can feel it and transmute it, whether I'm touching you or not. It doesn't matter.
Wow.
Yeah. But to a lot of people, that's just, it sounds absolutely, utterly insane. But if you do a little research, you'll see I'm not the only one who's talking about this stuff and who does things like this.
Right.
You know, so it's not like I'm coming out with some brand new crazy ass idea. You know what I mean? At this point, I'm like, do a Google search and educate yourself. That was my response. That was my response. When I got divinely guided in that meditation to cure myself with my own energy, it was, remember what you've already known. Remember what you knew in your past lives. Remember what you know on a soul based on a soul level. Remember what you've done in past lives when it's come to healing. Remember, you know, how energy works in your own body. Remember, it wasn't like new information even to me. It was remember this stuff.
Yeah, because there wasn't pills back in the day. People had to get healed some way or another.
Yeah, and it was those of us who knew how things worked, and there's, sure, you know, the better your diet and the more broad of the spectrum of foods that you're eating. You know, when you eat things that are red, it helps your root chakra.
Really?
When you eat things that are green, it helps your heart chakra.
My heart's not going to do so well then.
He does not like vegetables.
No, I don't.
He's not a vegetable person. But all of that is, you know, connected and has, it's true. I've done distance healing on a few of these people here. Sky and Karen. Infinity distance healed me too, and I felt so strange in a very good way. I have such a fog with my past lives, man. I think I might have some kind of blockage there.
I mean, I've never
like
tapped into that
most
either.
people don't really remember details of their past lives, honey. So it's not really something that if it's a past lives things, most people just, you know, there's things that really hit home and we're really drawn to. And, you know, you could say, you know, I probably was really into that, or I did that in past lives, but
I feel like I was a hunter back then, because I have like this extreme, like, you know, I have this like want to go out and shoot a bow. A lot of people were warriors and hunters, and you know, there's definitely those. And if you have those predisposition type things or remembrances, those are the things that are gonna, you know, feel good to you to do now. So that's why you do with your crossbow, or not your crossbow, a bow and arrow.
Bow and arrow. Yeah, those are fun. Archery.
I've been getting pretty good at it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Where are you doing it?
In the creek.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, I just go and shoot an apple, or I have like this thing. Yeah.
I love that.
That's cool.
Yeah, so don't worry about like past life stuff. If anything comes up naturally, it does. But I mean, I wouldn't pay too much attention to that. Most people can't remember past life stuff unless they're in deep hypnosis or meditation. That's where most past life stuff will come up, or in dream state. You got to think about the Civil War. Oh, interesting. I have a few memories of past lives. It is interesting.
Yeah.
And if the stuff comes through, I always think, just like anything, it's there for a reason. But we don't have to, you know, be distracted by it, I guess. You know, because what's really important is this life. Yeah. And connecting to our souls, connecting to our divine counterparts, getting information, employing the information, being open to the information, you know, not just what feels good or what's comfortable, what's pretty, because, you know, if we could be like, oh, if we just don't think about anything negative, nothing negative exists. Yeah. Wouldn't that be awesome?
Yeah. Oh, well. That would be.
I would spend a lot of time getting rid of a lot of shit in this world if I could just make it go away by my thoughts.
I believe you. That would be great.
Yeah. But, you know, it is what it is. But all we can do is be aware and act accordingly and go as we're guided and support others and be there and, you know,
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like we try to do as much as possible. Recognize when we are struggling, ask for help. With some of us, that's really hard to do. But it's really important. And we have to see ourselves in the bigger picture. Because I think a lot of people like, well, you know, who cares? What does it matter what I do? It really, you know, blah, 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 blah. But really in the scope of things, in the web of life and in the universe and in how we're all connected, we are super important to each other.
Yeah.
And especially right now, these are the messages we've been getting for a long time about soul family and coming together and uniting and reuniting, really. Reuniting again, working together again. Like we said, you know, we've been coming back over and over and over again to put things on a certain trajectory to take humanity into a new place. We couldn't do it all in one way or in a big thing. It had to be small, and now it's coming. We're all here again at this time to find each other and work together and to be positive light aspects for each other and to spread the knowledge bombs. And, you know, hopefully more people will see stuff and get it and take power back for themselves. You know, it's kind of like for me, I had to get very faithful and that I would be supported because I went through a very extraordinary spiritual thing to be where I'm at. And I really couldn't do much of anything. I couldn't work the normal way that I worked. I couldn't earn money. Things were taken away in a certain way that really just kind of, I had to just go, well, I don't know. I only have a couple of dollars literally in my life, and I don't know where the next couple of dollars are coming from because what's going on. But I had to really get into that like faith-based, I know I'm supported and everything will be okay thing, and just watch it unfold and have it be a witness to that in my own life over and over and over again.
Right.
And hopefully inspire other people.
Right. Well, you know, at the end of the day, it's all about helping others, you know, and, you know, I hope that, you know, everything I've been able to talk about today maybe has given some people some, you know, food for thought. You know, I do struggle with a very bad addiction, you know, video games. It's very addicting, but, you know, I want people to know more about it, you know, and really take it more seriously than it is, because it is a pretty intense thing.
And Sky had, I don't know if you saw this, Sky said, I lost so much time playing games, man. Kingdom Hearts, Pokemon, no matter what it was a screen. I was staring at it and the controller was flicking.
Yeah, I know. I'm telling you, you get really carried away, and, you know, it's one of those things where it may be games, it may be cigarettes, it may be alcohol, but eventually we're kind of wasting our life away, and, you know, there's a lot more to experience out there. But, you know, I just hope that I was able to share a lot today, but, you know, it's starting to get late and then I got work tomorrow.
Yeah, it is. It's 10:23. We've been talking for a while. Sky says, oh, well, I want to acknowledge this. Karen was talking about how she remembers the Civil War. And she goes, Karen's black. She goes, I must have been white because I don't get a slave vibe in it. And I'm black in this slave.
Oh, yeah.
And she's like, really drawn to it. Like, you know, a lot of us are like naturally drawn to certain time periods and places or certain types of like aesthetics and decor. You know, where we're like really like Egypt is a big thing for me, and I have definite recollections of being in that time period. But as a divine incarnate, kind of working covertly, which is really cool. Like I wasn't just oblivious when I was in that time period. Like I was aware of what I was and what I was doing there and working, you know, for the light back then. Yeah. Which is really kind of cool. That is cool.
Well, you guys are very welcome, and
thank you,
Dakota. I'm glad to kind of share my story. You know, I don't, you know, it kind of is a little bit of a depressing one, but at the same time,
guys. Thanks for coming and being here.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You know? Thank you guys.
And thank you guys for listening. You know,
Please.
It means a lot to me to be able to share this to you guys because it is, you know, it is something that's, you know,
it's real.
It's very real to me. And, you know, I really want to, you know, share the word and, you know, kind of warn people in the way, you know, what it's about.
You know what would be really awesome and inspiring for you to do, Dakota, and maybe you can think about this and you guys can tell me what you think, is maybe, you know, document your journey.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like have your own YouTube channel. Maybe, you know, have little,
I've thought about it.
Have little, you know, do, you know, today this is what I'm dealing with and this is where I'm going and this is what I'm doing instead of gaming, maybe, you know, and this is what I did, you know, I really, you know what I mean? Like, so that's kind of like what I did with my whole, I tried with and I did as much as I could. And, you know, you could just do what you can. But if you put out your journey in real time, and then you can look back at it and go, look at what I put together. Look at what I can show people. This is how it was for me. It can help other people. And it could also be something to focus on.
Yeah, that's a good point. You know, it could be something to focus on.
You know, you're being real about, you're not ignoring that that's a thing because it'll, you know, you can put it off in the corner, but to really overcome something is to really, you know, dig it out and talk about it.
The first step is to accept it and to acknowledge it and to try and then the next step is to try and figure out how to deal with it.
Yeah. And you know what's even better is if you can take your struggle and turn it into something positive,
like this,
for other people and for yourself to focus on and to give other people light and inspiration, and they can look back and go, you know, look at what he did, and it was not easy, you know, and you're really honest about that.
Yeah,
you know?
and you know, I want to be as honest as I can be because, you know, I want people to really understand that, you know, what it really does. You know, it really is affecting.
Yeah, and even if, you know, 2 people watch it or 10 people watch it or whatever, and they go, wow, man, you really helped me out because I feel the same way. And now I don't feel so alone.
Yeah. No, because seriously,
you know, and you've inspired.
A lot of people are gonna face through it, and a lot of people will deny it.
And you've inspired.
I denied it.
Yeah, and you've inspired me to be real and to face this and not to be in denial about it and to try to do something about it. I mean, that might be something really great for you to do.
I mean, you know,
that would be amazing if you had a YouTube channel. You can help people that are the same.
I've been thinking about a YouTube. I've always thought about a YouTube channel. It is something I could probably try out.
Yeah,
you know?
You totally.
Because you know, it is kind of, you know, nice to be able to get, you know, my perspective out on life and see how other people take it and if it helps others out. You know.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
And it'll help you too.
True, it will.
Because you're not in a vacuum. You know, it wasn't like this day is rolling on.
You know, also I can kind of, you know, get what's off on my mind out, and
very healthy, very cleansing, very and Sky says here, I found that making my YouTube videos on my abuse experience helped me get a better perspective on it. Making videos helps me a lot, honestly, no matter what it is I'm talking about.
Yeah, you know, I definitely might give it a try.
Yeah, you should, and I can help you, and we can figure stuff out to, you know, to make it so it's helpful. You know, we want it to be helpful for you and something that you can do, and it'll help other people too. For sure. I know it. I know it, you know, and and that's what was motivated me about my story. It's like, I know other people have felt trapped, you know, feel trapped in their bodies, don't know that they can, you know, take control of their energy and heal themselves and be healed and this and that. And that's what motivated me, you know, and, you know, all the rest of it too.
And that's true, you know, 10 to 1,000, you know, I mean, you know, 10 people, at least one person. If I'm helping out one person, it's better than nobody.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. You have to look at it that way, because that one person, you know, you can do something, you could say the right thing, and that just changes their life, and everything goes in it. And that's
very true.
And that's really what we're here for, right? To really spread the light and to be of service and to use our own stories as foundation to go forward and to teach and to share with other people. Because really, what other perspective do we have other than our own, truly? I mean, you lived your life and had your journey for a reason, and you're struggling with it right now, but you want to do something about it.
Yeah.
And you're in complete control to do that, you know? And the darkness is scared shitless because you're
that is true. Darkness is scared that we're going to come to the light. All right,
guys. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much.
I love you guys. Thank you for being here for 3 hours and 31 minutes.
Yeah,
we can always spend some time together.
Yeah,
I love you. Mwah. You guys are the best. Thank you for being here.
Thank you guys. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, please share this this video with others if you think it would help, and leave comments.
Yeah, definitely.
And I really appreciate and love you guys. And I will be back soon with another live. And another day we'll get together and do a meditation. Then I'm gonna go spend some time with my babies now.
Yeah, I'm gonna get some sleep. I gotta work in the morning.
Yeah. All right, guys. I love you.
All right.
Mwah.
See you guys.
Have a wonderful night. You guys are the best.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Bye.